It's episode 15 of Snap on This. Previously self-proclaimed the best of the Marvel Snap podcast. I did not go into that plan to ever say that again, but here we are 2 weeks in a row. I'm LaurenWhatevs here with like some of my best Snap friends and usual co-hosts. It's an odd-numbered week, so first up, it's Ree. How was your week in Snap? And keep it snappy.
Okay, pretty snappy for once. I won't lie, it was one of those weeks for me where I was checklisting my game more than enjoying it. So I got in to get my daily missions done, but I did get Fenris Wolf. I had grand plans of brewing a new, Moon Knight Fenris Wolf deck. It didn't happen. I did an auto to get the weekend missions. I did not even finish Surtur weekend mission. I got halfway through. I ran out of time. It's just maybe if I built my own Surtur deck, but auto Surtur is so boring for some reason. I hate it. And
yeah.
So I guess what I'll cover for my weekend Snap is I did actually achieve some split miss goals. Snap at least gave me a break there. Finally for Moon Knight. I think I was complaining last week that I couldn't get anything good. I finally finished Moon Knight. Moon Knight's done because I got an ink with Rainbow Crackle.
Beautiful.
So I have the option of ink with Rainbow Crackle or just the Rainbow Crackle. But yeah, Moon Knight's done.
I thought you were looking for blue or white. Was Rainbow on the list?
I mean, Rainbow is just assumed best. It's best in slot.
Okay.
It's biz.
Yeah, right.
Rainbow Crackle, right?
Yeah.
Wait. You gonna pick White Crackle over that? I mean, get out of here. Wait, some kind of pretentious schmuck? All right. So, speaking of, I did get some White Crackle for Cosmo and Green Crackle for Meek. I might have preferred blue, but I'll take the green. It's cute. Okay. So yeah, we getting. It's funny how much getting to have the best usually backgrounds on the card led to the rise of Crackle. Where you're I just want Crackle.
Yeah.
So I did that. I've been doing some. I have a week ahead because it's I just saw that my infinite tickets were oh hey, those are unlocked. Oh hey, guess what? It's the last week. So we have that. We have Deadpool's Diner. I've not gotten King its-rie yet. I'm 4 levels down from him, I think. So I got a week ahead to finish some stuff up, I guess. So that's me. And so I'm up to running behind. Trying to get ahead.
I think you're right on time.
There's still a whole week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll get it done. I'm not worried about finishing Deadpool's Diner and that stuff.
Good.
I'll get it done.
Okay. Well, nice on your crackles. I'm with you that my new main or favorite split type is base art base finish with crackle flare. It's the best. Generally speaking. Ben? Other co-host, how was your week?
I had a weekend Snap. It was pretty good. I also have been playing some Deadpool's Diner. I did take a break yesterday from Deadpool's Diner stuff. I mean, I did do some Diner yesterday, but yesterday I had an idea for a deck I wanted to try, and the thing about Deadpool's Diner is that it confuses the hell out of the Marvel Snap Zone tracker, or at least it did last time around, because bulbs are not cubes. So you get some bananas cube rates. But anyway, I had a new deck. I had a new idea for a deck, and I was like, well, I want to see some stats for it, which means I have to play on the PC. Can't do it on the phone if you want to really get the stats going. And so that meant that I could also not play Deadpool's Diner because it would confuse the tracker and defeat the purpose. But my new deck turned out to kind of kick a lot of butts. my first thing with it.
Hell yeah.
Finished up a gold conquest that I had won the first game of, and that worked pretty well, and the deck was feeling very strong. And so then I took it into Infinite Conquest and just like kind of wrecked that whole thing there. And if you're wondering what kind of deck it was,
we are indeed wondering, Ben.
All right, it's kind of a move surfer-y deck.
I'm shocked.
Ooh, okay.
You know, I built that one last week for the bounty thing with Polaris and Vulture, and this deck doesn't have either of those cards in it. But I was already thinking in the space. So this deck, it's a Zabu joint. This is a Zabu Surfer. No Scarlet Spider, sadly. Because sometimes Zabu Surfer means that you're putting Scarlet Spider in there. At least for me. That's what's in my heart. That's what's important to me. That's how I live. I don't know about you all and the choices you've been making in your own lives. But this deck has Zabu, Hydra Bob, Grandmaster, Craven, the Hunter, Brood, Silver Surfer, Hope, Summers, Sebastian Shaw, and Spider-Man, Absorbing Man, Gwenpool, and to top it all off, Malekith. So I realize these cards sound a little weird and like maybe they don't super duper go together, but you're wrong and they super do. Craven and Spider-Man, those two cards, they just love hanging out. Spider-Man into Craven is just such a huge swing.
It's big.
Very cool. Also, Malekith just like reaching deep into that deck, making sure you get your Silver Surfer in like most games, you know. It all really works. It's in agreement with itself. When I played a few games on my phone later in the evening, and it did like lose some. But as far as track matches on my PC go, it's still undefeated, and that's nice. Yeah.
Well, what kind of game count are we talking about here?
I think
stats.
Very few. I think I haven't played it since I shared that screenshot of 9. I could double check, but I'd have to open the Marvel Snap Zone tracker. Doesn't like my preferred browser, and I have an alternate browser I use just to check my stats on one of the 3 sites. But I'm not going to dig it out right now. But yeah, point is the deck is crushing. It's going super well. Sorry if I'm not as high energy as I would like to be. I'm not super high up on sleep. Let's see. Yeah, I crushed it with that new deck. Very excited. I'm probably going to throw it up in the square. Skip the square last week. It was a stressful week, lot going on. You know, I don't know how much anybody cares about the squares. I think maybe they are primarily for my own amusement, but
I care about the square.
All right. Well, there'll be one this week, and it'll probably have that deck in it.
I'm going to try this deck.
I feel like this game, it moves plenty fast for my taste. I only got around to trying Malekith in Surfer last night. So like, I never have time to do all the ideas that seem like good ideas. It's a real bummer.
That's a vibe.
Anywho, yeah, I have been continuing my experiments with Fenris Wolf and discard. I'm about ready to put that card aside for a minute. I'm not super excited about it anymore, if in fact I ever was. And honestly, I wasn't. I was just like, I was excited that it seemed like an okay card to me, and I was sure it wasn't going to be like, you know, ridiculous or anything. And I've seen that it's just fine, and I'm not, as I said, just not all that excited to play it. So I'm probably going to clear out some deck slots. Oh my gosh, I really have been chafing under the 20. It gets harder every month. Because more deck slots.
Not a good way to store them.
And don't make me pay for them. Okay.
They're gonna.
They had better not. They'll see what happens there. I would be pretty upset.
I will write them a sternly written tweet.
I don't know. That would be a real blow to my. I would not feel I would not feel very welcome or invited by the game if they were trying to get me to spend more than my $10 a month just to have some basic quality of life stuff like a reasonable
How
number
dare
of
you
deck
want
slots.
to deck build?
I'm just like, that would be gross. They haven't done it yet, so they still have the opportunity to change their minds and do the right thing and not be monsters. So I hope they do that.
It's kind of a
Free deck
dividing
slots.
line of like free to play MMOs. Like, are they charging you for like inventory space for like bags? You know, like, do I have room to put all my junk? And it's like, yeah, I agree. It gets greedy when they're just like, you can have 5 things at one time unless you pay extra. Yeah.
Yeah, it was heavily implied that they were going to include them in the super premium season pass. Which, like, okay, so they're not going to be super expensive, but I'm with you. I think that's a silly thing to monetize.
I thought about when they launched the Gold Pass. I thought about being a season pass and Gold Pass person, but I feel very much. I feel validated for skipping on the Gold Pass because they immediately stopped offering anything worthwhile for your gold as soon as they launched the Gold Pass, which seems like a real bad look to me, and a little bit greasy and or scummy, depending on your preferred adjectives for that type of behavior. But it's one or both. That's my opinion. So yeah, I did not upgrade to Season Pass plus Gold Pass, and I'm not going to upgrade to Season Pass Super Duper. Just like put out more variants. Just give people something to be excited about, and don't like hide super basic quality of life stuff behind that extra high paywall.
I think they could use the wins of quality of life stuff that affects every player.
Yeah.
Like, they could really use those, especially right now. Seems like a critical point, which we'll talk about a little more later. But, you know, obviously the things have already been kind of in a, I don't know, overall negative vibes. And then things get even worse with things like having to fight for a month for proper compensation for the split bug, or disappointing series drops. And it's just like, I hope something's going to turn around soon. Like, I genuinely believe that they care about these issues and that they are working on solutions, and that, hey, maybe in a year things are going to be better. But
you know what I genuinely believe? Oh no, finish your thought. I've got a thing I genuinely believe.
A year is too long. So I really hope some fixes and exciting things are coming very soon, and not summer 2025. Like, it's too long.
You know what I genuinely believe? 5 years for a mobile game.
I genuinely believe that Havoc is not series dropping because they have more variants that they would like to put in Spotlight caches in the future. That's what I believe.
He could be Series 4, though, right?
I think he is Series. Maybe he's already Series 4. I don't know. But point is, Supergiant was not Series 4. We were wondering about that recently.
I noticed
None of us seemed particularly certain about what series Supergiant was living in, but now we know 5 going on 4. But yeah, clearly they have more pretty pixtures of Havoc they're going to stuff in Spotlight caches, because that dude is not dropping anywhere.
Okay, you're right. He's already Series 4.
So bad. He exists in a world with Hydra Bob. Like, why would you ever play Havoc over like Hydra? He's like, you know what I mean? He's like
Hydra Bob is overtuned. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, for real. It's very.
I know, poor Martyr. Here she is losing people games, and like she's sharing stats with Hydra Bob, like
and
Titanium.
Silk?
No.
Silk, justice for Silk, 2-6 Silk.
No.
Why are you busy scheming on how to charge me for extra deck slots when you could just be making things right for Silk?
I know. It's sad.
Priorities.
All right. My week in Snap.
That's been my week. Yeah.
Are you ready?
I am ready, Lauren. Lay it on me.
I also picked up Fenris. Was not expecting to. I 2-keyed him, so that's not too bad.
Nice.
What basically convinced me was 2 things. 1, I saw a deck that I really wanted to play. 2, I realized he's a prio card, and I like prio cards. I might have talked about that last week. So that kind of like sold me on him. Yeah, he's fine. The deck that I used was pretty fun. It was what I used for the first third of Diner. It was a buddy deck. And then for the second third of Diner, okay, it's really like the first quarter, and then the second quarter of Diner, I used a Safety Blade, like mid-range thing that was also very fun. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just play Diner right. Like, we have a huge gap between our big wins and our small losses, right? It's a 32 times difference. If you know, so let's play something really swingy that has early signals. And I played one of my favorite old Mr. Negative decks. I mean, this thing is many months old. Maybe not too many months because it has Cassandra Nova in it, but something that I dusted off. I think I used it to get an Infinity Avatar a few months ago, and I took it all the rest of the way through the second half of Diner. I got its-rie, haven't played him yet. I got Jane, did a spent 20 minutes donating bubs, but boy, that takes forever. And people kept playing Magic, which was just irritating me. I'm like, I'm donating. Please don't extend this game. I know of all things to be upset about. One extra turn is not. It's I don't know, small, but anyway, Diner went fine. I have seen very negative responses to Diner. I think it's a fine game mode. I think it is probably too grindy, and I think it's a little user hostile. That like the best way to play it is very counterintuitive. Yep. The secret sauce, everybody. I mean, I posted a guide. It was like one of the best things. What am I trying to say? It was a very well-performing thing I posted last Diner, so I posted it again on both Blue Sky and Twitter with a new coat of paint and some new thoughts. But basically, the trick is don't play a table unless you have 3 or 4 times the cost of the table, and then also retreat a lot. But that's like, I don't know. I did those things. I put it into practice. I'm pretty sure my win rate in Diner is below 50%, but I retreated when I didn't have Mr. Negative or Ravonna, and I snapped like crazy when I did. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, right? Like, your hand is stronger if it doesn't have Iron Man and if it does have Jane, but basically that. And my win rate is below 50%, and I finished Diner, and it didn't take me too long. It's just a slow and steady thing, and I don't know, it feels bad when you rush a table and you burn out on your bubs and you can't play for a few hours. Like, there are problems with Diner. And I don't know, like, how do you feel about like some of the problems with Diner are people playing it wrong, right? But like, yeah, that's I kind of think that's on Second Dinner, that they made a mode that is so counterintuitive.
There is that. Also, even when you're playing it right, is it like more fun than Ladder or any other?
I actually think it's worse.
Because like, I don't think it is more fun. Yeah, I'm not saying it's like actively like terrible or anything, but like, it's certainly not like ultra appealing. I won't be sad when it disappears and I'm like, oh no, but I can't compete for the whimsical food items anymore. Like, I'll probably get over it,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say, before the show started, Rhea and I were talking a little bit about it, and it was like, why don't they just make the bottom table free? Like, who cares if you're giving out 8 bubs for free or 120 bubs for free? Like,
yep.
Like, the mode is exponential, and so letting people play the bottom table for free would probably feel better, but it really doesn't give them any significant progress towards its-rie.
Also, speaking of things that don't feel great about it, I don't like how I have to totally tank my bubs to collect the free bubs that replenish and stuff. That feels bad, because then I feel like I'm leaving money on the table, even though the efficient thing is to never run out of bubs and just to like keep doing smart
and never refresh any. Yeah,
but like, I hate losing out on the free stuff, like, it just like, it bothers me, like, conceptually. I don't like that. It makes me want to do the stupid thing of running out of bubs, but like I don't really want to do the stupid thing of running out of bubs. It just like, I would like to collect my free bubs, please. I don't know.
I mean, the in-between thing is at the end of your session, go all in. But then, when you succeed on going all in, then it's like...
And then it can't be the end of your session, because now I've got this big old mountain of bubs that I have to, do risky things with in order to feel like I'm really, like, maxing that I might be relaxing,
For the record, you shouldn't. If you're above your refill max, you shouldn't go all in. You should
still just smart to, like, walk away and have more than your refill max of bubs when next you want to do the thing. But it doesn't feel great. Even though it is the smart thing.
So yeah, I think people would hate it a lot less if they weren't locked out. Like you said, if they just kept the very bottom tier always in trouble, like Conquest, right?
Yeah.
What I like best about Deadpool's Diner is the rewards track. I like getting I just like getting rewards. It's kind of the whole point of it. And then that's the way I tend to play it, is like I'm there, I'm doing my missions. Hey, I don't have that much more time to play. I don't want to sit here over my limit when my bubs aren't regenerating. So let me just spam all out until I lose them all. You know what I mean? Just start playing more carelessly till I run out. So then I'm like regenerating while I'm not playing, which doesn't feel good. It was like the goal of it was to give you this feeling of like super high stakes and like maximum cube gains and stuff, and it just becomes this weird like economy management thing as compared
it just
to
feels
this
like there's so much spillage. I don't know.
Yeah, so high voltage felt good in comparison to Deadpool's Diner, because it was the one extra mode we'd had thus far, and we got to high voltage. It's like, oh, it's just kind of like do a couple missions that aren't that hard, that are just playing it to do, and like maybe screw around with some like weird wonky deck, because you're gonna have like a bunch more energy than you usually do. So like do some silly Wong stuff, or like, you know what I mean? And so while we had high voltage, probably all of us had a high voltage deck, or maybe a couple to just go in. And it just felt easy and fun. And you just did your missions and you got the rewards, and with Deadpool's Diner, it feels this like, oh, I got to grind it till it's done, because it's so exponential feeling. You know what I mean? So it's like they want it to have this epic feeling, but instead it's like also this exponential feeling of bad for players, of like, I'm so far behind because look how low I am. You don't get that sense of you're going to rise and it's going to be okay. It's just like, well, I got to get this free card. I got to get these rewards. And I'm like locked out now and I got to wait. And it's just like, you can see what they wanted with it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a lesson in game design of like how you can thwart, how all these things can lead up to a bad experience, missing the mark.
I think it's really interesting to compare the different game modes, like ranked and conquest, and also high voltage and diner, and to look at the different responses to them and all that. I saw our friend Jason on Blue Sky bemoaning being only halfway to its-rie, or maybe he was celebrating, I don't know, but he's like, I'm only halfway there, and I was like, actually you're 13/14 of the way there, like you're almost done. But you couldn't tell because it's exponential, and those numbers are just so hard for humans to grok.
Yeah. What's so exciting about like winning? I won 1.467 million bubs last game. Like, just tell me I won 8 cubes or something. Like, it just 8 cubes feels better.
Yeah,
and what you're paying attention to,
numbers that are so large as to be meaningless, that it's just not like, that's not what fun's made of. Sorry, Ree, continue.
No, I just think what you're paying attention to, or at least me when I'm playing, is that rewards track. What's my next reward that I get, and how far am I toward it? And it's like, ooh, a premium mystery variant or whatever. And like, oh, some like bub stuff. Okay, fine, that'll help me finish this faster. You know what I mean? Like,
even I think I had a relatively positive experience in Diner. I knocked it out in like 5 days, maybe. I just played like a robot. I'm going to play at the highest table where I have 3 to 4 times the buy-in. That's it. That's the only time I even thought about numbers. Was like, okay, what's the highest table I can afford? Okay, let's go down one table. Maybe it depends on the tables. After that, I'm playing the exact same way, whether I'm playing at table 1 or table 10. I keep calling them tables; they're plates, but whatever.
Oh,
we talked before
about that would be a very silly thing to feel bad about.
I think one thing Diner could do well, I don't think it actually does, but I think one thing it could do well with the way that the mode is different with the automatic snaps, it could teach people how to play better, which is to retreat earlier, and to leave when your opponent snaps, those sorts of things. Like, I think that those skills are even more important in Diner, and so they could theoretically teach you how to do that better for ranked. Like, if you can do well in Diner, you can do well in ranked. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it actually succeeds in that goal. And then once you do have that skill, I think it's more boring to encourage retreating on 3 instead of retreating on 6. Like,
yes, I don't know. Absolutely. A zillion times more boring. Yeah.
It's just,
yep.
So I think it's kind of just a bad mode. Yeah. Voltage, there was some interesting, if you get into like the dev answers on the official Discord, Glenn was having some interesting, answering questions about Voltage and all that. And he talked about how like he just thinks it went a little bit too far in the direction of winning not mattering. And I actually agree. I think that Voltage was too much in that direction. And if Voltage lasted much longer, it would have been extremely boring.
But it
didn't. And I think there's so many players who wanted a mode. Mode where it didn't matter, where they could just play and it felt free. And and it was fast to finish the missions, right?
It proved the demand for a casual mode, a truly casual mode that is fast, not like Proving Grounds, which is too slow, and not like ranked, which there's always something on the line. Like, I think people want a truly unranked mode, and I want that too. I do enough silly things in Snap that I would love to have a different place to do that.
Where I think that High Voltage may have failed there is that like winning kind of did matter, and it kind of did get solved by the end. And like in the final days of High Voltage, I did not find it to be very enjoyable to play, even if I was playing goofy decks that didn't expect to be winning all the time or anything. I still found that most people were trying to win, and they were trying to win with the same kinds of decks. But I don't know. That's just my own experience with it.
But you would have, if it lasted longer and if winning was all that mattered, you would have a shifting meta. I don't think it would just stay solved forever. You're right that winning mattered somewhat, but it mattered very little. You could get away with never winning.
You could get done with it without winning.
Almost all of your volts came from
lost a lot.
Right. Almost all of your volts came from doing the missions. They were worth way more than winning, and the missions weren't dependent on winning. It was like play 5 cost cards.
Although some of the missions were not super fun if you got particular ones, is my opinion.
Yeah. Sure, but those are things that can be modified. I think overall, every mode doesn't have to appeal to every player, right? We can have a more casual mode like High Voltage or something, that's more grindy like Deadpool's Diner. But the goals of it should be, right? It should at least appeal to one type of player that's a significant base. And getting whatever the rewards for the mode are shouldn't be too annoying for everyone that's just there to get the rewards, right? I think those should be the two goals for a mode. And I think High Voltage, that's the thing. All the things are like, well, if it's stuck around longer, but like that's the whole point of High Voltage. It's in, it's out. And like probably a mode needs to be around a week, considering casual players, give everyone like a reasonable chance, where it's not like they have to log in on 3 busy days to try and get it done. Like a week seems good. They just need to make it casual enough that like people can finish early if they want and be done. Everybody has time to get it. And
I really like that the card you get is like 2/3 of the way up the track, and then the top of the track, there's more prizes to get, but they're not the new card, right?
Yeah, I haven't even paid that much attention. Is it just like silly cosmetics that I won't care about?
It's a few for Diner, it's a few frames and then a Jane Foster variant, which is bizarre because Jane Foster is also the Conquest variant.
Yeah, it's weird. Also, the thing about these game modes it's true that they aren't for everyone, and maybe it's cool that they don't have to be for everyone, except it's also apparently the only thing that the developers ever work on, or these are the new modes that we get. Like, we don't get real new game modes, so like maybe these limited time modes should be for everyone if it's like the only thing they have the attention to work on. I don't know.
Draft is coming, and maybe one other permanent mode.
Is Draft coming? Is it? Is it though?
We do also know one more temporary game mode is coming, and then they'll cycle through the 3: Voltage, Diner, and whatever number 3 is.
But like things don't come out of like they don't. New stuff doesn't happen very often. So if the new things that happen only last for a week and a half and are only for a certain subset of the player base, or like only like really for a certain subset of the player base, then like, I don't know. I think they need to.
They're not big enough wins.
Yeah, they need to work on something that's going to make more people happy for longer, is what I think.
Yep. Rhea, I thought your summary was very lovely. I basically agree. I think Voltage is like, it has good bones, and it just take a few tweaks to make it a great mode that will be fun once a quarter. As stated previously, I think it does justify a full-blown dedicated unranked mode that's always available. I think that would be very helpful to a large portion of the player base, just mentally. And then I kind of think Diner is for nobody. Like, it's ranked mode, but worse. Like, so I kind of hope eventually they can Diner, quite frankly. And I'm the kind of player who Diner is sort of for. Like, I enjoy taking an obscure game system and optimizing it. Like, min-maxing a game system is something that I really enjoy doing. Yeah. I'm an analytical person, but I've solved it, and it wasn't even that complicated. So what's left for me in Diner?
Yeah, I saw a thing where someone was like, oh, well, we're seeing the same problem before, where it just feels at the very beginning. And it's like, news flash. How a game feels is the whole thing.
That's everything. You know? That's everything. Yeah.
Sorry, I was pulling like an It's Always Sunny there. Like, okay, sorry. Way too
so that was my week in Snap. Do we want to talk with its-rie? I haven't used him at all. Ree doesn't have him.
Yeah,
I don't have him yet. I think maybe we'll hold off.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about him next week, or maybe I don't know. I haven't been very impressed by the its-ries I've run into. Okay,
Gorr. One of us wrote the show notes and didn't put King its-rie.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a hint. Gorr came out this week, the final week of this season, which did catch me off guard. I'm not ready for Infinity Conquest. Maybe I'm skipping it. Gorr, 6-1, ongoing, +2 power for each on reveal card in play. I have not picked him up yet. You two?
I have not picked him up. I did end up playing against several after I had stopped playing on PC, so I was not tracking these matches, which is good because I lost to a lot of Gorrs while I was playing on my phone later in the evening. I will say, like, I was losing to some Gorr decks. Also, I was playing a zillion on reveals, as I am wont to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think I'm going to have trouble with this card, perhaps even more than the average player, just because of my preferences. Yeah, seems solid. It's kind of blobby, like I thought it might be.
Mm-hmm.
My first Gorr was from a location gave him to me. So I got him, and it was like, new card you've never seen. I was like, oh, that's never happened to me, to a card in my hand. So this was a Sinister London, where we'll replicate your card to another location. So, and that's where everyone plays their on reveals. So, like, Gorr was so my first Gorr was enormous.
And your second Gorr.
Enormous?
Gormous.
No.
Perfection. And then I think, like, the second time I saw him, he also beat me. He was in a negative deck. And they copied him with their 0-3 Mystique into the other lane.
I was seeing some of that. The Gorr into Mystique thing seems like a pretty potent sequence.
You could do Gorr into Taskmaster too.
I also saw that. It also works.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen
seemingly every time.
Yep.
almost every Gorr I've seen was in negative. I've also been playing negative, and my negative is beating their negative. So I'm like, do I really need this Gorr? Maybe my deck would be stronger if I also had Gorr on top of the Taskmaster, but I don't know. That was the reason I was tempted, is because he's a negative card, and my current version of negative is working better. So I might just stay past, because outside of negative, he's just Blob and Red Hulk for different decks. Like, we're just going to have a giant big boy for, 5 different flavors of decks or whatever. I assume we're going to get more of them. It's just, that's not my thing. I don't want single lane, uneventful big card. I mean, I know power is how you win games. I get that. But, like, I want to do it in a cool way, not in a way where it's just like, bam, I have a gigantic card.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, some people just get that real joy from, like, slamming down an Ajax or a Gorr or, some big last turn, like, finisher. Yeah. And it's like, oh, but it's more fun to, like, see a bunch of things happen, for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to catch you off guard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a chance either of you are going to pick up Gorr, or are you just nah?
No, because I'm too interested in too
maybe.
many cards next season.
Yeah, I kind of think I have to leave myself something to open from the fourth thing in the row for the spotlight cache.
Yes, with your endless luck. Okay.
I mean, for that particular like little corner of the spotlight system, I do have pretty wild luck. I was just thinking to myself as I was playing Speed, I'm like, yep, there's another one that I opened from the mystery prize. Scroll past Arishem at the top of my collection because it's not upgraded yet. Like, man, so many goodies they've given me. Anywho, sorry, just reveling in my...
just bragging.
Yeah.
Okay, next week's cards. This is the last week of the season, so we will be talking about next season's cards in a second. We are not going to talk about Galacta and Luna Snow much here. Luna's Spotlight friends are Lady Deathstrike and X-23. X-23 being one of the cards dropping to Series 4. Thoughts on those cards? The Spotlight friends?
I've played with both of them.
Yeah, these are both very cool cards. X-23 is like really essential, I think. Lady Deathstrike
destroy decks, yeah, for sure.
But also, if you want to make cool, interesting discard decks, you also want X-23.
I haven't played her in a discard deck, like...
Also, you know what? Even if you don't end up putting her in the discard deck, at least you had the opportunity to think about putting her in the discard deck.
Don't listen to Ben. Okay,
she's amazing in Destroy.
She's a fun discard card, sure, but she's not that important.
Also, she's pretty cool. Sometimes she makes things at like those late turns with the Draculas and things. Like sometimes having one extra energy like lets you do a cool play. Like maybe it lets you get out Swarm and then MODOK on turn 6 so that you don't have a Swarm in your hand to get discarded to make 2 false hits for Dracula. Like this really does happen. Like that is
very
like
niche.
No, but it's a very important thing. What? Yeah, Meek exists.
Aren't you gonna put Meek in instead of X-23?
Yeah, but Meek doesn't solve the Dracula Swarm problem the way that an X-23 dropped on turn 5 does. Like,
okay, so if you want to play Destroy,
it's a niche thing, but it's like kind of a big niche thing.
It is important. If you are running Dracula and Swarm in the same deck, it is important that you don't get shafted by Swarm.
You know how I feel about Dracula and Swarm in the same deck.
Yeah, you just don't, right?
Yeah, I do think that is the right answer, but like, if you're doing it, maybe X-23 joins the... Well,
I'm not saying never play X-23 and discard.
Saying never play Meek.
I'm not saying never play X-23 and discard. I'm just saying it's not meta. It's not a reason to get this card unless you are like obsessed with this card, in which case you already have this card. But she's critical in Destroy. If you like Destroy and you don't have her, she's critical. Get her.
Yeah.
Although maybe for 3,000 tokens in another
Keep in
week.
mind, she's friends with Swordmaster. I'm just saying. There are a lot of ways to discard this card. A lot of places you could and
been looking for more ways to play Swordmaster. Maybe I'll finally try
is
it.
in 100 Bad Guys with Swords, a deck that I have played just a couple days ago, and it's still pretty good. It's
all right, fair enough. I gotta try it. I still haven't tried that.
Lady Deathstrike
works.
Yeah, Lady Deathstrike. I've actually maybe played the most out of all of us.
I've hardly played her.
Yeah, I mostly played generated Lady Deathstrikes.
I've played her in decks on purpose many times.
She's very cool.
I have a bit of experience with her. She's very fun. She is very niche. Here's the thing, though. So she's a great surprise card, obviously. Like, people aren't expecting you to play that on their Patriots, on their Cerebros, on their Draculas. Yeah, all of that stuff. But she often, in Destroy decks, she often ends up being my first cut. If I'm making, there's so much fun to be had with her. I think there's just a joy to playing her if you're into mostly Destroy type things with her. But and she's very fun, but she is not essential, and that's what I think about her.
And I think that's how I would have summarized her too, as a mostly observer. She can ruin some fun for sure. Yeah, but
I do like to put her in a Destroy deck if I'm doing bounties. She is, you can. She can be the sort of the flex card thing in a relatively boring Destroy deck. If you want to spice up a boring Destroy deck, swap something for Lady Deathstrike. That's my feeling.
But what she's competing with often is Zola or Null or Atuma, cards that just end up being way more flexible often.
I feel like Atuma probably changed the ecosystem in such a way that maybe Lady Deathstrike never shows up anymore. I don't think I haven't been taking care of Destroy bounties recently. But last time I did, I was using Lady Deathstrike. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe
she hits Bucky.
She sure does.
I haven't played Bucky, so I need to make a Bucky Destroy deck.
Those stats are enticing. I will probably play Bucky right before they change him to 2/8 or something.
The other thing she does that's kind of cool, and I feel like this is an underexplored area of Snap, partially because players aren't exploring it, and partially because we still don't really have the right cards for it. But it's cool that she's semi-targeted, right? You can play her in a lane and you can keep your giant Venom alive, but take out everything else that's there. Your X-23 or your Bucky or whatever. I don't know why they'd be there, but it reminds me of Misery, who's that way too, where you can you can take out part of your lane, but keep some of your lane there. And I've done cool things with that.
Also, unlike Misery, she solves problems like the Void and stuff, which is
that's true.
So there are non-pure Destroy things you can do with Lady Deathstrike, and she evolves real nice if you Cersei her.
I'm playing her in a deck right now. Actually, she's in one of my 2 Destroy decks with Electro. She's in my Destroyer deck because Electro.
She's a great target
is a very fun line. So awesome. I am actively actually playing her right now in one of my 2 Destroy decks that I switch between. Destroy.
Yeah, so we like these cards, I think, is the general consensus. These are cards that we're rooting for.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Luna Snow in a little bit. We had series drops announced. They're coming with the December 10th patch. It should be a big patch. That week we're getting a Tuesday patch and a Thursday OTA, and then that's it for December. Anyway, I saw just a few people being like, oh, are they announcing these early to try to get ahead of it, or maybe to have a play where they see our responses and then like Fake coming out with an even better patch and it was because of our feedback. And no, they've committed to announcing series drops 2 weeks in advance.
Yep,
and that's that you don't buy.
Normal.
And which is kind. I don't know if kind is necessarily the right word, but it is consumer friendly because it tells you, hey, don't spend 6,000 tokens on Fastos because he's about to cost 3,000 tokens. So yeah, they're committed to at least 2 weeks of heads up. That's what this is. It's the 2 weeks of heads up. Only 9 cards dropping from 5 to 4, which is not, honestly, just 5 to 4 is not super important because spotlights are the main ways to get these cards, and they cost the same in spotlights. Obviously, Series 4 is half price in tokens.
It is significant because tokens are, in my experience as a person who, I don't know, I think somehow, despite spending the least amount of money on the game, I have the most complete collection on this particular call. And I'm telling you, tokens are what's up. Buying things with tokens is...
It's because Rhea and I can't resist the allure of certain cosmetics.
Yeah, but like the thing is, that gold, it turns into so many tokens, and like 3,000 tokens, that's a whole supergiant right there.
Okay.
Alternatively, just wait till she shows up in keys.
Without actually saying what any of the series drops are.
Are we going to say that?
I mean, is it that hard to just list
go ahead and say them.
All right, the ones going from 5 to 4 are Fastos, Grandmaster, Pixie, Beta Ray Bill, X-23, Supergiant, Sasquatch, Valentina, and Iron Lad. Also, you know what? I'll say it. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Okay. Series 4 to Series 3. Snowguard, Kitty Pryde, Jean Grey. So...
That's
it. They gave
3
to everyone
cards
for free. The oldest card from Spotlight caches, and Snowguard, who's fine. Okay.
Who predates Spotlights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be honest, like, this is, like, when I saw this, I mean, I get in, and we'll get into why everyone's mad, but it's like, this is what I expected, like, to look at this and be like, yes. Snowguard isn't Series 3 yet? So we can be like, oh, Jean Grey, not a surprise. And a couple others like, oh, Iron Lad was still Series 5? X-23 still was? That's kind of what I expect from a series drop. And also the other thing I expected is that none of this changes anything for me, even though I still don't have, like, I don't know, like 7 to 10 cards. Like, all of these are cards that I have for sure. Those were, of course, the only ones that were going to drop. And I did see someone mention that they're annoyed that Valentina dropped before Baron Zemo even shows up in a spotlight for the first time.
That's so wild.
Well, I think it all depends on how many pictures they've got of you. You know? So let's all keep our eyes peeled for these new Jean Grey variants that they definitely have. They definitely didn't series drop her because they ran out of pictures to sell you.
I don't have Fastos. I'm not going to spend 3,000 tokens on Fastos, but no.
Well, you're missing out because he's
fun.
I don't think so.
A lot of fun.
I've never once felt bad about skipping him.
Really? That's more fun because it's like, ooh, will it be +2 or -1 to play? Like, what will it be?
Hey, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Ooh, and think about him on a Camertage. You're like, delish.
Okay, that is very niche, but yes, that would be nice.
He's got a big hammer, Lauren. What do you want of the god?
This has triggered a massive negative response, at least in the like community that is actively discussing this on Reddit and Twitter, etc.
Loud vocal minority.
Yeah, casual players.
In either of those places, so I don't know what they think. But
I'm very doubtful. Yeah, I'm very doubtful casual players care.
I think they care. I just don't think they're aware on this like level. I think they do want more.
They probably don't know about series drops because they weren't paying attention to the announcements.
I think there are a lot of players who find out about the series drops when they happen in the app. Like, you know, they open it and they see it.
Yep.
Like, they're not like actively resisting like new information or anything. It's just they're not seeking it out the way the highly engaged like extracurricular players are, you know.
You're right. as far as I know, these were only announced in the like Twitter and Discord type places. These aren't announced in game, and I don't think they will be until they actually happen.
I mean, I got it off the marvelsnap.com. That's where I found this information. I did have to go looking for it though, because I heard there were series drops, and then I had to look it up. But yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of talk. I think, if anything, this is the straw that broke the camel's back rather than actually being the core issue. It's really not a surprising series drop to me. If anything, I'm surprised at the quality of the cards in the drop. Like, there's actually some decent ones in here.
It seems very business as usual. Neither egregious nor amazing.
Alongside this announcement, they said like, "Hey, we acknowledge there is a card acquisition problem, and we're working on it."
Yeah, they've been acknowledging it for a long time, though.
It's been a long time coming. Yeah, which is, I think is part of why this is a tipping point, the straw that broke the camel's back moment. Is because it's just like, okay, but when? And are we going to go through this every time there's new series drops and the economy hasn't been reworked yet? Yeah, probably. They also mentioned that in the beginning of next quarter, there's going to be an even bigger series drop, which I think is kind of a weird thing to announce, but
it's not going to be big enough to fix the problem, certainly. Like, it's definitely going to be another too little, too late kind of thing. Like, I don't see that going well for them. I think they need something better than a larger series drop.
I think that's what they're working towards. But like I said earlier, I really hope that soon.
Long time.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer we can last.
And like, how many times can we give them credit for being so communicative when like all they communicate is that like, yeah, we're aware that we're fucking up hard and we haven't fixed it yet. And also we can't tell you when we're going to fix it because we're not going to fix it. Like, that's, A+ for communication, but like, that's not, that's kind of a bummer.
Here's like what I see it as. So probably maybe even this next series drops, they like to wait to do that kind of stuff till they have whatever new system they have in place, right? So that's one thing. Two, they don't like to talk about their new stuff that much in advance. One, they found if they talk about it too far in advance, people get annoyed when it doesn't happen fast enough. Two, if they say something and then it changes, everyone has clipped that and so it's like they don't like to talk about it too. They just are saying, and from our end, it's like, well, we have no idea when that is. Another aspect of this is, right, like they're a game studio that once it like blew up, right, they need to expand out. They need to get more variants. They need to have all of this stuff, and it's hard to grow smaller teams in a way that's stable, right? And all of this is fringed by the fact that they're making a ton of money, and a lot of that isn't like going back into the game, Mm-hmm. So like, I'm not like saying there isn't a capitalist component. I'm just saying the dev team often isn't like kind of, they're kind of victims of the of the capitalism as well, because they can only deliver on a certain timeline. They have to try and grow, on a certain thing, and they have these. And that's not to say that we shouldn't hold second dinner the company accountable. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think individual developers, have this, but like, I think that's right. And yeah, but like from the outside, from people that are invested in the game, obviously.
I do think that we shouldn't be like angry at anybody like personally or anything, but I also think that maybe sometimes more than is useful, we have a tendency or a history of compartmentalizing all of the different parties involved in bringing us this game of Marvel Snap that we play. Like, because we do get, communication from specific team members, and like these people are saying like we get this nugget of information from this person or that person, or like, but like mostly like the players have a relationship with the game, and like the game, whoever made which decision or whatever, like we're all playing just the one game of Marvel Snap, and it's going like it's going. Is kind of, I don't know. I think.
Oh, for sure. From that
sometimes when we zoom in, like, well, I trust this developer, and so I can't say mean things about Marvel Snap because I believe this one person is doing a good job. And like, that's very nice that one person is doing a good job, but we're all playing this one game and it's not going great sometimes. I don't know.
Totally.
I didn't concoct great like notes on that thought. It's just like something that's been bouncing around in my head where, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we've made it too personal with too many parties when really it's just like the party of you, the player, and the party of the game that's being sold to you that you're paying for. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure. And like, that's like you, the player, you know, as a player, that's all that matters is, right, this is the game. That's all I care about. I just have always been like super interested in the games industry. It's a mess.
Oh no, we all have fascination with the inside
and pulling
baseball
back, so
aspect,
looking at it
sure.
and looking at all the mechanics at play, right? And very often it seems externally at least, the second gen is a lot more friendly to their employees than a lot of game companies are. But oftentimes. In many companies, the developers are victims of the company as much as the players or anyone else. People who are passionate for an industry. So oftentimes they are overworked and underpaid and then just laid off and lose their health insurance for a job they usually moved somewhere to join in a state. Like, you hear about layoffs in the game studios all the time. So that's on point, but I see from like when you're just a player and it's like, I want the game to be good. It's like, are you interested in this whole, like, let's study the moving parts of the game industry. You're like, nah, I just want the game to be good and to be able to play it without paying like $100 every month or whatever. So it's like, you know, yeah, just competing perspectives.
Yeah, you're right. If it's a small team and they are being treated correctly, you know, paid well, not overworked, it might be part of the reason why things go slower. Still, it's a year and a half later from Spotlights. We've known these problems have existed for a while. The art pipeline thing that they addressed when Spotlights were announced is still clearly a problem. I think it's gotten better, but it's clearly still a problem. And, you know, so maybe there are some things that need to change. Like maybe they don't do special art with every single Spotlight. Like, that's probably what brings in a lot of the money, but also we need new cards. You know, you need access to cards. Players need access to
Baron Zemo. Less good art, but I agree with Ben. I mean, it seems so obvious to so many of us that like the art they have dictates a lot, dictating decisions around the game.
Well, and even some of the Spotlights, I think common feedback I've seen is like, this isn't Spotlight worthy art. Yeah. And it's like, I think it's kind of a weird thing because like it's such a subjective thing, like, but still, you know, like variants that typically go for 700, like a Dan Hip or a Baby, those shouldn't be Spotlights.
Yeah. No.
Even if they're great art, I love the Dan Hips, but I don't think it should ever be a Spotlight
has been established.
card.
They're worth 700 gold. Like that's
Whereas a Spotlight is worth 2,400 gold. I mean, they took them out of the shop, but
if you play board game auction games about art, the best ones never assign any value to any artist, you know what I mean? Or to any style of art. In the auction, the market dictates, and then things start, because people talk all the time about how pixels used to be the most rare and prized of Marvel Snap variants, right? So it's just funny how it's like, you know, quality of art versus rarity is always going to be. All right, I digress.
I don't know, I've always wondered, I mean, like, inks and golds are related to that, right? Where it's like, are they the most desirable split because they're the best looking or because they're the hardest to get?
They're the hardest to get. So many golds.
It's definitely because they're the hardest to get. I think that's like, it's just like novel, you know, you don't see as many of them. And it's like, wow, someone put in the time.
Yeah, which I think is something
that I'll say about the new splits. I know everyone's worried about how all the new splits are going to dilute it, but like, I think a real joy is having a very unique split, and there's just fewer options. But now it's like you have to have the God Crackle split, which is Crackle with an Inker Gold. You know what I mean? And it's like, I like that someone can have a really cool unique split, but like there's more
Yep.
options for that.
Character mastery is going to be one of those big wins that we were talking about, where not every player's into cosmetics, but it's going to be the kind of thing where whales can really get into it and, get they can banana their whole collection.
It's coming in 2 weeks. Just give.
And I can have my stunning Valkyrie that is better than anybody else's Valkyrie in the game, or at least more obscure, and that is within reach for me because all I care about is Valkyrie, for example. Anyway, I think some of this conversation is about this game bleeding players, and I think it is bleeding players probably mostly from the vocal minority that we talked about earlier. But that has a trickle-down effect, right? Like, you have your content creators that are looking at other games or even leaving Snap. You have your vocal base that is it hurts the entire community if the most invested players are leaving, and eventually that will mean casual players are leaving too.
Well, and
I think
also
some casual players already have left. I
sure,
right, and not even over the money. It's like Pokemon Pocket was a casual game, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people are like, I won't go there because it's too casual for me, and Marvel Snap is a more fun card game. But if you're more into like very casual stuff, yeah,
and there's always going to be, new games that pull people away, and then people will come back to Snap, but it's a lot easier to retain a player. Right. It's a lot easier to retain a player than it is to win them back.
Also, as a player, it's a lot easier to be retained than it is to claw your way back to relevance if you decide to take a break.
Yeah,
I've definitely had friends take breaks, come back, and then quit again because they get it. They know they're into the meta. They know enough about the game. They want to play with these new cards or these new decks. They
understand how screwed they are.
Exactly, and then so they just leave again, and it's like how many times do you get that chance to get someone back into your game?
So it comes up often in these conversations, including from Second Dinner themselves. They've addressed hey, we need to work on new and returning players.
I'm glad they're aware of so many problems.
It needs to happen, right? And okay, so I'm just going to bring up KM Best did an incredible video on the split drop or the series drop. Honestly, if you're interested in this conversation at all, in the economy and the future of Snap, I would highly recommend you watch it. I will put it in the show notes. It's long, but it is so good, and I almost entirely agree with him. One thing he said is that the game doesn't monetize Series 3 cards, and I actually disagree with that. I think they must monetize Series 3 cards, or else they would have already accelerated Series 3. Like, the only reason for them to keep Series 3 slow is because people are paying to get through Series 3.
Yeah.
But one of his key points is okay, we're at this point where if they fix if they rework the economy like they did with Spotlights, and it goes over like Spotlights did, that is one of the worst possible things that could happen for Snap. And I kind of agree. But also, the longer it takes for the good rework to come, that's also bad for Snap. And they're just really at this painful point right now.
Yes, they really need to make a good move. They need to do something right.
Mm-hmm. And it's if they're not ready for it, that's very hard to force.
Yeah, and
it needs to happen soon, and it needs to be good.
And it's got to be something better than an acknowledgement that there is a problem. We keep giving them credit for acknowledging that there is a problem, and it just keeps happening for years and years. And just solve one.
The rubber needs to meet the road. Yeah.
Yo.
Yes, I do trust this team, but trust is eroding, and I think it's entirely warranted that trust is eroding. You can earn trust back, but it's a slow process.
Well, and it's the way they all talk about it. It's like actors, they can't go around and be yeah, the movie I just starred in was bad. Let me tell you about that on my press tour.
Right, this is their livelihood.
So
you can do it, but it's very novel. That'll
just much more.
Didn't Dakota Johnson lean into the crapness of Madame Web? I think I read a story about that, but I did not even catch these interviews where she was apparently trashing the movie. But
still, I imagine if that happens, then other studios are less inclined to work with you.
Probably.
So yes, you're right. You have to take the things that they say with a grain of salt. But But I don't know. I still take Griffin is the community manager. A lot of what he's doing is communications and PR. Glenn, on the other hand, feels extremely candid most of the time. And I think mostly when he doesn't have nice things to say, he just doesn't say them instead of twisting them into something nice. I don't know. Yeah. Any other thoughts? I hope.
No, we want
serious
game turns around. We all love the game. All the players who are ticked about it love the game. Like, this is why we're here and talking about it still, is because we don't want to see it die.
Also, this is all really great setup for the secret homework for next week. This is pretty exciting. I wasn't sure which turns this conversation would take, but we're primed for good things in the second.
That's also very relevant to a listener comment we received that we'll be talking about later. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's in the show notes. We are going to move on to rating next season's cards. What's the name of it? Rivals? Marvel Rivals season?
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. We're going to try something slightly new. Instead of stack ranking them, we're just going to rate them on their own. Slightly inspired by Ben secretly rating last month's cards as pass-fail. We're going to do it a little more granularly than that. We used a 4-point scale, basically a thumbs system. But in our heads, we're calling it boo, meh.
Wait, and
like
the boo
it?
is Princess Bride. It's like the dream sequence when it's the super old lady and she's like, boo!
Boo! It's so aggressive.
Yeah, she puts a lot of English on it. Yeah.
It's very important you know the right boo that goes with it. Okay.
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. My bad. Meh. Like it and love it with 2 snap on this exclamation points. Okay, so first up, our season pass card, Galacta, a 4/6. It's Gwenpool in a different package. Each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. Thoughts?
I have a few thoughts. One thought is, are we sure that it's 1 card per turn? Or is it at each of the other locations? Because if it's 2 cards per turn, this card is even more busted.
Yeah, I read it, the first card at another location, just the wording.
Yeah, I want to believe, like, as a fan of the English language and like things making sense, I want it to be the first card at either of the other locations, just one first card that you play at another location.
Yeah,
that's
and generally Snap's templating is pretty good, but they have disappointed me before.
But you never know, do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we should rate it like it's once per turn. I think that they would have said the first card you play at each other location. Yeah, I don't know. It's rough.
Yeah.
If she can give
I think it's limited to once
+6 power
per
turn,
turn.
Some of it is just she would be busted if she could do it twice per turn, right?
But also maybe
an easy 4/18.
Maybe they love that. I don't know. It's not the choice I would make.
I gave her a love it.
Oh yeah.
I gave her a 4, which
is that a love it?
Like, maybe that's a love it. Honestly, the thing I put in parentheses is too good. I've said that after a lot of things, actually.
Maybe it's not love it, because this isn't how excited I am about the card. It's busted.
I'm worried
you rated
about
it incorrectly. That's why it's a like it for me.
Okay, so are you ranking them based on how much you like them, Ree? Or based on power?
It's called like it. Okay.
I know, that's why I'm having concerns about our ranking system already.
Okay, but to be fair, that also sometimes comes into play in stack rankings as well. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I will definitely give some extra points to a card I'm excited about. I'm ranking these on power. I think Galacta's too strong. She's reliably
How is this fair to
affordable.
Elsa? Like, how?
Or Gwenpool.
Poor Elsa.
I mean, I think Gwenpool is still can still
Gwenpool's
hang.
still better.
But like, this is just such just such a cruel thing to do to Elsa. That's what I think.
You do this on Brood? It's really big. If you do Galacta,
and the fact that it reveals with +3 power, like they even say it's like answering the question right there for you. They're like,
it's a 15 power Brood. Yep. And then your abs man on the other lane, the next turn is what?
21. Wait, am I?
How much power
21.
does he have? Does he have 4 power, 5 power?
Yeah, he's got 4 power.
4 power. So there's 7 power Broods. Yeah.
Maybe time for some Moon Girl Shadow King.
I mean, we're talking about Galacta being we were talking she'd be broken if she could do multiple lanes, but Brood is kind of the way to do that.
Yeah.
It gives Galacta essentially 3 procs in a turn, which is just ridiculous. That alone.
Also,
I think her main point is to enable Galactus, right?
Yeah. And what seems like a really slow, inefficient way to get good use out of Galacta, at least compared to the Brood and Absorbing Man thing. Sometimes if you're really just cobbling your existence together from spare parts, you'll find yourself playing Sebastian Shaw as a 3/9, and you'll be kicking yourself for wasting this golden opportunity. How is the most disappointing thing you can do 3/9 Sebastian Shaw? What? This card's too good.
It's really, really good. It's more targeted than Gwenpool. That's also part of the reason.
It's gonna be nuts with Gladiator 3/11, guilt free. You'd better be playing Hulks or something. It's just too. This card's stupid. I don't like it, and it's not even the only one on that level. So
it's season pass. The season pass cards have been strong and have been needing nerfed. But I agree. I think I'm not as excited to play her as Gwenpool. I like that she goes with Zabu. I like that I love buff cards that buff cards. So I want to put her. She'll go into any of my Gwenpool decks, but kind of yawn on her ability. It's not exciting as a deck builder. It's not so that's why she's a it for me, not based on power, but it's come on, Esty, this is what you got. This is what you asked me to wake up for in the morning. Okay, that's how I feel about her anyway. But she'll be fun. I like buffing cards. She'll have some fun variants.
They've just been hitting it so hard in recent months, though. The buffing things and getting rewarded for buffing things and giving you even more ways to buff things. Forge used to have sort of a distinct mechanical identity. Now there are a zillion ways to forge things.
You could make a whole deck dedicated to it.
Well, yeah, but you couldn't even play all the cards if you wanted to make that deck. You'd have to be choosy about. That's sort of exciting. Being choosy about it is the point.
You can make your own flavor of buff deck.
I don't know. It's a little too paint by numbersy. I don't know.
Maybe it's a little spoilersy. Maybe it's a little spoilersy, but how Ree feels about this card is basically how I feel about the whole season. Strong, but not super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's not every card, but that's generally how I feel.
That's not fair to Peni Parker.
There's one card that's not
strong. You to apologize immediately.
I think the January cards are a lot more exciting. Interesting. And maybe that's just because they're more my style, but I think they look more fun.
No, I just wish we could skip this one and move right into Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
I do think these are cool characters. Ish. Luna Snow, a 3/5. She is the first spotlight, same day as Galacta. This is next week's card. On reveal, add an ice cube to each side of this location. An ice cube is a 1/0. At the start of each turn, get +1 energy. Then destroy this if your side is full here. Yeah. This is it doesn't even clog if you use it right, because you could fill the lane on 5, and then on 6 you still get the energy before it blows up. I think that ordering is interesting.
I she got another like it for me for kind of like the same reason. Because I realized at first I was like, delicious surfer card. I love extra energy. I'll play a Wiccan. I'll play an Irisham. Give me that energy you can't enchantress me out of, like. And so I thought I would love Luna Snow, but here's the thing. I don't know if you remember last week when we had a discussion about how very much I hate to give an opponent an advantage. And I realized it would annoy. If she was in my hand, a lot of times I'd want to hold her. And not play her on 3 or 4, but until I knew that when I played her, it was going to fill in their card and they wouldn't get the cube and just me would get the cube. And I just want to do that every time to make sure only I got the advantage, and it would be annoying. It wouldn't be fun for me. So, but I think
I understand that very much. You would be wrong to hold it though. But I
know, but and it would hurt me though. It would hurt me.
But yes, I totally get, and that's why I wouldn't play this. I avoid playing cards all the time because they would exploit things in my personality that we all play the cards we're capable of playing, and I totally get you.
I think she's good. Remember when a 3/5? It's remember when to be a 3/5, you'd have to have something like be a Lady Sif and be discarding one of your own cards that you needed to build around. I am intrigued with the Ice Cube coming out because now you can play with Marvel Boy and some a Dazzler Surfer kind of deal. So I'm torn. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not, to be honest.
If you fill the lane on 6, it never destroys.
It never blows up. Yep.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. There's some cute things you can do with this.
Right. So
it feels like just straight power creep on Electro to me.
This
downside feels a lot more than Electro's downside. Giving your opponent an extra energy is obviously, that's a big thing to be giving your opponent. But
but they didn't know they were going to have that. You knew you were going to have that.
In theory, your deck is built to ramp, right?
Yep.
But I would love that. If when people give me that with Luna Snow, I'd be like, thank you for this gift you've given me.
I mean, maybe, but it's also taking up space in a spot where you weren't expecting to have space taken. You did kind of get White Widowed there,
Okay.
It's
also to be fair,
this
when someone plays,
this is a very
when someone
soft
plays
drawback.
a wave or something like that, that's a mutual benefit, and it's I don't have something good I can do with this wave. It's very worrying to me. I'm but what do they have? So I get it.
Played on turn 5, she's not that different from old White Widow.
No.
She's a 3/5 instead of a 2/6.
Oh yeah, I never said my rating. This card is also 4 out of 4, too good. No, boo, worrisome, not a fan.
The 2 thumbs up is 2 thumbs down. I gave this one 1. Yeah. 1 up arrow is how I wrote it. I think it's good, but I don't think it is among the top this season.
I think it might be even better than Galacta. I'm so glad we didn't have to rank these because so many of them are right
hairs.
there.
Just a lot of good.
Play destroy, be Killmonger, eat up that cube, get yourself some Carnage juice, blow up theirs with the Killmonger, get that extra energy for your Knolls and your Zolas. That'll be the counter that week. It'll be fun.
Maybe. I feel like all the ways to counter this are I don't know. I had 2 bullet points about this card. The first one is, painless acceleration. Why should the acceleration be so painless? The precedent of Corvus or Electro is ridiculous. And also, why is this card a 3/5?
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. Meanwhile, Electro's a barely brand new 3/3.
And that they were pretending that was gonna make some big difference in the patch notes or whatever.
Is Corvus 3/5?
Yeah. Yep.
This is not the same. These 2 things are not the same. Granted, You're playing Corvus in a discard deck where the discard is actually a benefit.
No,
but
it's true. But Corvus is a niche card, and this is just a too good card.
Yeah, I think she Maybe she deserves 2 up arrows because she might just be the best ramp card in the game.
Yeah. Yep. Gross. That's what I think.
Yeah, when her competition is like Corvus Glaive, and yeah, Electro, it's just like.
Let's also talk about Hope and Wiccan. But Wiccan you don't get out until turn.
Hope
like
and
you don't get
Wiccan
that energy until turn
are
5.
very fair cards.
Yeah, they have
There's
more
nothing
delay
unfair
to
about
them.
those two. They're powerful, but nothing offensive. At least in my opinion. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that. Maybe you have different pearls that you're looking to clutch in your game evaluation. I don't know.
Is there something specific you're worried about with the ramp though? Because traditional ramp deck.
My brain doesn't work like I don't know what to do with ramp stuff. Ramp stuff happens to me, not from me.
Black Panther Zola.
Why not? I mean, like I can pretend to be a ramp player a little bit. Let's see. What do you want to do on 5? Maybe you just. I don't know. I've been
Symbiote, Spider-Man, Galactus, a turn early.
I don't know why all these cards are making me think of Blue Marvel, but I'm just like, maybe Blue Marvel's the card you play next. Maybe you are doing a Dazzler thing. I
actually think that's pretty sick.
I love me some
You could
Dazzler.
play Blue Marvel
and like Ultron or something,
and Ultron and Gilgamesh. You could play all 3 of them.
Yeah, you can do all
there are
kinds
2
of
kinds
stuff.
of Marvel Snap players: those who pick up the fill all location bounties.
Hey, that's me.
I do those.
Okay.
Usually
we're all the
playing
best.
Surfer.
Okay, yay! Can we talk about the next card finally? I'm so much more excited about it.
Yes.
You go ahead.
Oh, what a ray of sunshine this one.
Okay, this is my first Love It, which once again, this is somewhat a feelings-based system. But Peni Parker is a 2/3 with on reveal add Spider, written in robot R2D2 speak to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy next turn, and Spider is a 3/3. With on reveal, merge with one of your cards here. You can move that card next turn. And I think this has to be the card I'm most excited about, I think, next season, because it's like, if I were a giant baby and this was like one of those toys that is just like, here's some buttons and like some like, things to like, shiny stuff and clicky
She does
stuff
4 different
and,
things,
like,
yeah.
squeaky stuff. It's like, she's on reveal, so like, where does she go with werewolf? Like, she merges with stuff, and then you can move a card. There's so many little like toys here. Like,
yeah, she's a whole bop at extreme.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's 5 things.
Like, usually when you get like a doll, like they can do one thing. It's like, oh, she pretends to eat food or something, and it's like there's so many things to play with Peni Parker. So I don't know.
So many activities.
Yeah.
Somebody's loving it. Okay.
I want to see like a commercial, like Peni Parker, and Spider, like the toy commercial. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Anyway, what amazing thoughts do you have?
I think we were both nodding along that this is the most exciting card this season. Yeah, personally.
Everybody here loves this card, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd give her a love it in my heart, but for power, I only gave her a 1 up arrow. Because I don't think she's busted.
Oh. See, here's
Ben's
the thing.
gonna tell me how to break her.
Here's the thing. I gave Peni Parker a 3, but it's a high 3. Okay, I'm a little worried that we're all being charmed by this awesome and seemingly fair card, and like maybe she's still a little too good, even though she seems like the normal one of the bunch, right? Like,
I mean, it's pretty scary on Human Torch.
It's like, wow, this is cute. We've got like a tribal thing for merge cards. That's so neat. But like, it's got to be silly, right? Because like, it's just merge cards. What are we so worried about? But the thing is, like, with extra energy, it's really helpful to have some extra space. And the thing that we already like about merge cards is that they give you extra space.
Oh, look at this brain.
And like this one can even move itself, providing yet more flexibility.
Also space. Yeah.
So like I kind of think this card seems real good, right? Like I'm not certain because I don't play a lot of the merge cards. Like my favorite merge card is Symbiote Spider-Man, the bad one.
That's because Agony's not that great.
This is Agony stonks going up. With
no,
Peni.
but like Agony is going to be that great is the thing.
Yeah.
This is yeah.
I'm saying that's
if
why you
Agony
haven't
were
played
also
more
Psylocke
merge.
and like yeah, I think you throw this in a deck with Hope and you play all the merge cards and then you play, I don't know, some big cards that I don't like, and you've probably got a stew going, if I were to guess.
She's a Swiss Army knife, like Nico, kind of. It's a different take on that. And I think there will be times when you're sitting there deciding with Spider if the one extra energy is more valuable or the move. And obviously, Peni gets both. But
no, there'll definitely be times you get to feel clever when you put Spider on, not Peni. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's usually going to be correct to put it on Peni, but sometimes it won't be. And that will be exciting. We all like to feel smart.
That's good.
A very exciting card. I'm looking forward
fun.
to this one.
Yeah.
Honestly, if she does live long enough to see herself become the villain, I'm into it. It's fine. If this card is going to be like too good, it's okay.
The one thing holding her back is her stats are 5/6. Right? Like
kinda.
I mean, you have the option. I'd rather have a card that gens me another card that I have the option.
Yeah, and it's 5/6 over 2 turns, which is different than 5/6 up front. Yeah.
I mean, like, is Kitty Pryde a good deal? Because like we spend a lot of energy
by herself. She's
Kitty
not.
Pryde, you know,
You have
like,
to have to build around her.
You have to have an
a
Angela or a
reason.
Hope or something. Yeah.
But like, hey, Angela and Hope, they love merge cards. Merge cards get along fine with them.
Yep.
You know what I like to do? I like to throw a chimichanga on Hope Summers and call it a day.
F Elsa. Let us play Elsa again.
For real.
Oh, would you please? It's not as urgent as the Silk thing, but just get on, do the right thing.
Have a conscience. All right.
Okay.
Doom 2099. A 4/2. After each turn, add a Doombot 2099 to a random location if you played exactly one card. Doombot 2099. A 4/2. Ongoing, your other Doombots and Doom have +1 power. Did y'all rank it like it's going to work with Doom proper? Doom
did.
Prime? I did too.
Correct.
And
Which
most
is
of my
why I
thoughts
gave it a
about it are
meh.
not about the power level, but about my feelings about
Yeah.
that choice. Because I'm not a fan of it.
That's where
Does
I was
anyone
at.
like
I was
this
like,
card? Does
meh.
anyone have positive things to say about Dr. Doom
I think it'll be powerful.
2099?
I think it'd be powerful, but it's so boring because it's so like all in on the Doom.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm just like not interested to deck build
Tells
with
you
it.
exactly.
It's like,
well, can you build a deck or can you play the cards they told you to play? Like,
right, exactly. And then it's like, it's like,
There's no
okay, if you want to
creativity
have fun with a goblin tribal deck, you got to have enough goblins that you actually have the options and you're still deck building within a goblin tribal thing. And it's like, this is just Doom, But here's the weird thing too, compared to Peni Parker, the last one, and Luna Snow, it's like just as complex, right? It's got an ability that leads to another card with another ability. It's multifaceted. And yet this is like the photo negative, level of interesting to me, where it's just like, it's so specific in what it does and probably how you're going to play it and unlike Peni Parker, which has a million things and it feels like you can want to do with her, Doom 2099 is just like, I am Doom. And it's like, well, all right.
he tells you the one other card you're allowed to combine him with.
Okay, he's a 3-card combo that can win the game, like Wonk Panther Zola. There are a few of those in the game, but it has more flexibility than Wonk Panther Zola, that you have to do it all in one lane. That also has randomness introduced. But yes, I agree. It's way too specific. Not a lot of cute things you can do with it. I think that there is a variety of things you can do with it, but
just let us be cute, second dinner.
Yeah, right. I mean, okay, so some of the things: Limbo, Cerebro, Doom, obviously, Zola. There's plenty of ways that you can play one card and make it do a lot of work here. Onslaught is okay. Maybe you can get him on 2 Doom bots. It gets big, really, really big. What did we calculate it as before? Like, just by itself, it's a 420, I think, spread across 3 lanes. But that's still big.
Yeah.
Compare it to like a Galacta or a Gwenpool, where you play all the power, which is a 412. Unless you do silly things.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
So
I gave it.
What's your rating?
I gave it 2 up arrows. And I'm ranking on power. If I'm ranking on do I think it's good for the game? 1 down arrow.
Yep. I give this a 4 rating, which is to say I find it worrisome on multiple levels. I really don't like this precedent of an ability that references a specific other card already in the game. In this case, Doom Classic and his classic Doom bots. I understand the rule of cool, and I think it's really great and awesome and a good reason to do things. Just kidding. No, I understand the rule of cool and I respect it. I still think this is a bad road to start down. It's reminiscent of the original Cull Obsidian that they wisely decided not to pull the trigger on, referencing Infinity Stones. That was so stupid. And I was like, oh, good, they're smart. They're not going to do that. And now we're back at it again in the white bands.
It's going to make people feel bad for playing Dr. Doom. People at the lower levels, you know what I mean, who have Dr.
I'm not playing Dr. Doom right. I need the second Dr. Doom to play Dr. Doom correctly.
They ruined Dr. Doom. No, why?
Gross.
Remember when we were always like, Dr. Doom is like the perfect 6 card, is kind of
Dr. Doom is a well-designed card.
Doom and Magneto, yeah.
Last week, I couldn't explain where I got this. I had this creeping suspicion from somewhere in my mind that I couldn't trace that Doom 2099 was the same character as Doom Classic, and this was in fact a symbiote Spider-Man situation again. Or an Iron Patriot or whatever. And it turns out I was super right. Yeah, of course. I must have remembered it from somewhere in my brain from Spider-Man: The Ultimate Guide by Tom DeFalco, aka the very tome that serves as the Bible for a little game called Spider-Lore from 2004. So maybe that's changed. Maybe Doom 2099 is no longer the same as mainline Doom, but at least
Ultimate Doom 2099.
At least Doom 2099 thought he was Doom Classic. It didn't seem to be super certain. Maybe he was delusional, but yeah, Doom 2099 thinks he's regular Doctor Doom. So those are my thoughts on Doctor Doom 2099. Not a fan. Do better. Maybe his ability doesn't count Doom Classic and Classic Doom bots. Maybe it doesn't.
In which case, I just think it's written poorly.
I bet they're going for the rule of cool here, and God bless, I suppose.
Hey, if it's true that he is the exact same guy, then I think it's at least a thematic win.
No, I mean, sure, it's very thematically cool.
But not a fan. Did we get rankings from? Yeah, I think we did. Okay.
Yep, I gave him a 4. Too good.
Bruce Banner, 2/1. When you end a turn with unspent energy, 25% chance to Hulk out! Speaking of good templating, I love this card. I love the use of theme words as keywords. when they're clear, right? Like a Barrett Zemo's Steel or a Recruit, actually. Cassandra's Steel. I think I think those are great. The words that are not necessarily keywords, but like, you know what it does. This guy turns into Hulk. That's the only thing I like about this card.
Yeah, that's why I gave him a meh, because I'll probably skip him, to be honest, because I'm more excited about next season's cards and resources are limited. Because he's like a 2, so he could be a 2/12, maybe, but he's the perfect target for Red Guardian. He's you know, if he pumps, he can get shanged later. There's so many ways to, like, you know, my Gambit's gonna hit him.
Also, you know, I was just talking about the rule of cool, and like 2 costs shouldn't be 2/12s or whatever, but like it is cool that he can turn into, like, I approve of this use of the rule of cool for like a gameplay thing that shouldn't happen being allowed to happen. Like, yeah, it's fine because this card is god awful. Yeah, we can do as much rule of cool fudging of like norms or whatever, as long as the card is unplayably bad like this. You know, I think is really interesting. You know, there are these basic ass pieces of comic book trivia that we all get beaten into us when we play these sorts of games. And like, I read like 1 volume of Young Avengers once when I was like 14, and I don't remember anything about it except for this thing that I've learned 50 times from Marvel games, because they love to remind you that Hulkling is not a real Hulk. He's actually a Skrull. Did you know that? Yes, I know that. Okay, fine. Okay, so Hulkling is not a real Hulk.
So he doesn't have to be 10 power?
But Bruce Banner is a real Emperor Hulkling, if you know what I mean.
Oh, what a lead up.
Emperor Hulkling. Don't play this card. What are we doing? So bad. Sorry I took you on that long walk. What a POS. Oh my god, a real point of sale system. Wow. I hate this card. This card's so bad.
Okay, yes. I also gave him 2 down arrows for 2 reasons. 1, I think he's bad, and 2, I think he's bad for the game. He's a 2/1 or a 2/12, but actually you didn't get to use that energy on something else, right? Yep. So maybe he's a 6/12 after 4 turns of skipping energy.
So bad.
Are you playing a lot of Vanilla Hulk?
Yeah.
Do you know what the average number of turns is that this is going to take? 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really give you snap or retreat equity because it's
absolutely
the surprise.
Not. You can't.
It's the surprise factor.
You have no information advantage.
Equally surprising you. We stay on 50/50s. You don't stay on a 25/75. There's no math that justifies that.
But like, that's why he got a meh for me instead of a boo, is because like, but it's fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that can be said about it, right?
No, it's very cool. It's very cool and fun. Play him. Everyone should play him, except me.
Are you gonna think he's fun when your opponent wins because of this card on the last turn?
Oh no, that'll be very frustrating.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, but it's like, think about it. I won't pick him up or play him because I want to save my keys for better cards. But if my opponent is playing, we're both watching him, like, Willy Pop. Willy Pop.
Willy
won't. And then he does, and then I immediately like Gambit him or shang him, and it's a good time for all. I know. Poor Bruce Banner. He loses all the time, to be honest.
The central mechanic of Snap is to snap and retreat. That's like what makes this. That's one of the things that makes this game special. 3 locations, I would argue, is also one of those things. 6 turns.
Very much,
like
yes.
there are other things that make Marvel Snap special, but snapping and retreating is a huge part of it, especially at like competitive levels. And I just think he is extremely contrary to that mechanic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
true. And as frustrating as it will be to lose to this card, that's fine. I'm fine with the amount of losing to this card that is going to happen.
because of the amount of winning to it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of winning against this card. Ooh, baby.
If it's poker, it's like occasionally they did just get that royal flush, and you're just like, good job. This was a win for you.
There's nothing I can do about this.
To the next 5 losses, you know?
Yeah.
We're so mean.
Do you play him in high evo?
Under
That
no
is
circumstances. No.
There's just better cards. There's already so much competition.
No.
I don't even think he fits in Sheena or the high evo energy skip. Like the 2 decks that are trying to skip energy, I don't think he goes in those decks.
This is like, what if Sunspot was really bad at his job?
The deck I have Sunspot in, though, has White My Spider Bay deck. I've not yet replaced White Widow in that deck, which she clearly needs to be.
It's hard to do, right? I had a cool Heimdall list with White Widow that I just couldn't figure out how to make work without her. It's a bummer.
She was too good, but it's sad.
Well, she was too good. I'm not like sad that I can't play this deck anymore. I mean, I am sad that I can't play the deck anymore, but it's for the greater good.
They killed her.
Not a healthy card. Not a healthy card.
Yeah, I agree. Can't disagree.
Okay. Rocket and Groot. I think it's Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot. 3/3. You can move this once. After always a good ability on its own. After your opponent plays a card here, steal 1 power from it. Which I'm reading like Angela. This could happen multiple times. And then when your opponent fills the lane, you can move it and do it again. Also, 2 thumbs up for a fun card and 2 thumbs up for this card's really strong.
Yeah, why wouldn't you play this in like every Surfer deck? I don't know.
No, for real. I had difficulty rating this one. My first thought was it's too good, and I do think it is too good, but like I decided to rate it only 3 out of 4 just because it's not the most too good. I don't think it's Luna Snow level. It's not, maybe this is the same rating I gave Peni Parker, who might also be too good.
There's not a lot you can do with this to make it to take it to an absolutely broken level. I do think it's probably the best 3 cost, just like in general for power.
Right?
But I will
in that sense,
something.
In that sense, the power creep is like not cool.
Yeah, it is important to remember, however, that Nocturne's ability is a really big deal. Like the Scarlet Witching thing, that's like worth some points of power. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like probably more than 1 point of power, I would say on average, is at least how much that's worth. So
she's a 3/6.
She used to be a 3/5 that did this thing, and that was like 3/7-ish. I would say, like, if we're trying to flatten things into numbers when they're more complicated than that, But like, I don't know. I think that Rocket and Groot is too good and is like kind of a best in slot like killer app coming to make you play this 3 cost, baby. Like we're all gonna be surfing when Rocket and Groot. Or I don't know. Maybe we won't all be surfing.
Doesn't even need to be in Surfer. He's just a good card.
No, like this is gonna be like everywhere, and I do like that. These self-moving cards, they do incentivize you to play some cards that I do really like your Angelas and your Hopes, and if they change something, this will be good for Elsa. In fact, if Elsa got good, this would be good for Rocket and Groot against an Elsa player, because Elsa plays are kind of predictable because they're filling lanes and stuff, and you could move your Rocket and Groot to where they're going to want to be filling lanes. So I guess, if Elsa gets better, Rocket and Groot gets better, no matter who's playing Elsa. But
if you put Rocket and Groot on Nebula or on Jean Grey.
Yeah, there are like a lot of like lockdowny type little tricks you can do to incentivize your opponent to play in a certain spot or whatever. Like you can force things. It's a really good card. I just don't know if I don't think it's Doctor Doom 2099 broken. I don't think it's Luna Snow broken. I don't think it's Galacta broken. But it's a very good card. Too good. Yeah.
To me, this card feels like Jeff, like early. Not Jeff now, who's kind of been nerfed by the arrival of many other cards. But Jeff then, where it's just like not quite as good because honestly, just a 2-drop is always going to be slot into decks easier and stuff. But it's kind of along those lines where it's like, when are you ever going to be mad if you have an open slot to put this in? Because I'm always looking to put reach in my deck, something that will let me move to like a Sanctum Sanctorum. Because that just wins you so many games. I just always try to put one card that'll do that, even if it's just a Nico or whatever. And this feels kind of along those lines because it doesn't just move once, you know. So,
but the thing is, of all the cards that can reach into, say, a Sanctum Sanctorum, this one really doesn't want to, because you're not going to steal any
I see what you're saying
power
with
from
the
those
stealing
things.
power.
You're really hoping
could move
they play
it on the
Jeff
last
there.
turn.
No, that is like what you do. I'm just saying, like, it does defeat the dream of this card to be,
and half of its built power stays behind.
That's true. I do like that it hits multiple lanes, and that like you steal some power on the original lane, then you move, and then you've impacted.
And you're splitting the power that,
it's just generally good. It's not like anti-synergistic with like a lot of cards you're going to be playing in, you know, just kind of dicks. Sorry, you're saying something, Wayne.
I don't know. It's between good and busted. I think it's probably too strong. It is because it will be the premier 3-drop. You can't beat it unless you're doing something highly synergistic. But also, I'm not worried about it having some crazy synergy that's going to make it get out of control. Sometimes something that's just generically good is a problem on its own because every deck can run it, and
it just swings a little harder than I think is healthy. Like, just a hair, and it's not really picky about. It's not like a major synergy. Like, I mean, all kinds of cards appreciate a little bit of synergy. You know, Harmony makes the chorus fuller and stuff, but like, I don't know. It seems, it is definitely bigger than it should be. I agree that it's too good, but it's not too good, I think.
Okay.
In a month with so many busted cards, it's hard to be angry at this one. The way I feel about some of the others.
Do you think it needs to proc twice to beat Nocturne?
Yeah. I think if it procs once, no.
Yeah, a 3/5.
But the thing is, I think it'll be easy to get it to proc twice because you can move it. Yeah.
There's something that the Guardian powers have, and this has it even better because it's ongoing, in quotes. I know it's not literally ongoing. The Guardian's
static
ability is interesting in that you don't need the extra power if your opponent doesn't play there. That's not strictly true because they can just play there later. But, you know, on a lane that's closing down or something like that, on the last turn of the game, Gamora being 7 might be fine if they don't play anything there. Like, you don't need the extra 4 power to challenge their power. So he kind of has that ability. Like, on a game where your opponent's never proccing him, okay, that means they're never playing there. Like, you don't need that extra power.
Another
what's
thing
funny is like it's clear that like this card was made to go with like to make Guardians better and go with their synergies, and it's like people will do that for funsies for a little bit, but it's still like this card isn't gonna make
that's the low series thing to do. Yeah.
Also, like if you compare it to the Guardians ability classic, I do think that this play on the traditional Guardians thing is interesting because, gosh, it sure does reward having priority. Like, the other Guardians really don't care. They just want to know that there's a card, revealed or unrevealed, that was played here on the other side. But, like, if you don't have prio, you're not stealing that power on the last turn or whatever. You know?
Right. Not on the turn you play them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hang out with
if you're playing it on turn 6,
fun little trio.
To soak up like a predictable lane, it only soaks up if you flip first.
They're a weak last turn play. That's true. That's a downside, but that's true of most of the move cards, right? Like the move yourself cards. You don't get to move yourself if you're playing.
I was comparing specifically to the rest of the Guardians roster.
You're right. Groot Classic is better on the last turn.
in one tiny edge case.
Rocket Classic is better on the last turn.
I think Rocket Classic might be a better card than this, actually.
In general, or specifically, like
in the deck where you
balance.
In the deck where you play Rocket Raccoon, I think Rocket Raccoon is maybe a more premium card than Rocket and Groot. Definitely right. In that deck, but maybe even. Yeah, I don't know.
Not in general. It is not in general a better card.
A card that I don't like, but that I have to respect.
Okay. That's next season's cards.
We did it.
Were there... well, we all ranked slightly differently, but Bruce is basically the only one that I think is a bad card.
Just a real stinker.
Not the only one I think is bad for the game. Doom 2099 would be...
Yeah. Cool. Frankly, I'm not even sure Bruce Banner is all that bad for the game. I mean, I don't like seeing more of these ridiculous, weird, swingy things, but if you're going to put him somewhere, put him on a real bad card, right?
Okay. Side quests. First up, secret homework. The secret homework was leftover homework from Joe's podcast, Snap Decisions, that we didn't get to on there. It was to bring the 5 characters you want to see added to Snap the most. You only get 5. The extra credit was to not go beyond 5. I had my child help me pare this list down today. I made all the decisions. It's just I was driving, so she was operating the notes app. Okay. Do we want to do 5 a round and then 4 a round, or just go through my whole list, or what?
I think the whole list.
Your whole list.
Okay. I'm going to do my list backwards, though.
Okay, yeah.
Yes? Okay.
I'm going to try to do my list really fast when I do mine. Yeah.
Actually, my list is more exciting going descending, actually.
That's what I'm saying. Go with how you feel.
Okay, my number 1, the card I absolutely want most in the game, absolutely easy choice, has always been number 1, Singularity. She's just my favorite Marvel character. She's adorable. She's kind of got Teen Titans cartoon Starfire vibes, where she's just innocent and quirky and just wants to be friends with everybody. She's adorable, and I love A-Force, which is where she's from, and I wish there was more Singularity to read. Number 2.
She looks like a galaxy in the shape of a girl.
Yeah, she's like a living pocket dimension. She's very cool, and I think they could do some cool things with that.
I'm so jealous you said of Singularity, and I forgot.
I'll never forget her. I don't know if she's ever going to make it in the game. Maybe if they reboot A-Force sometime in the next 5 years. Anyway, number 2, Hallows Eve. I just think she's cool. She has a cool ability, and she looks cool. She's a Halloween-themed... Cool. Yeah, she's been mentioned on the podcast before.
She kind of seems cooler than who she's hanging out with, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just from vibes. She's
cooler than Chasm?
Yeah, Chasm, which is what Ben Reilly is up to now, the Scarlet Spy, if you're wondering.
Yeah. Number 3, a character I only recently learned about, Necroco, but she's an alternate universe Venom pairing where he presents as a magical girl on his host. And she just looks so funny and cool. And I love magical girls. Plus she has a crush on her universe's Peter Parker, who is also a girl. So, of course I'm into that queer magical girl. Who doesn't want that?
Everybody wants it.
Exactly.
I see this concept. I would like to speak on behalf of all humanity. Yes, please.
But look her up. She looks cool. Venom hangs out on her hair bow, and then when she's ready to transform, she has a magical girl sequence, and she gets a big chain chomp Mario. Chain chomp from Mario. She has that head, and she has big huge pink pigtails. She's adorable. And she's really violent when she fights the monsters at her school, and she freaks the other kids out. And then her, I can't remember what the Peter Parker's name is because it's not Peter, it's a girl. But she's like, wait, no, that thing was awesome. She saved my life. And so then they have vibes because it's oh, I'm not scary. I'm saving lives in a scary way. Number 4, Carolina Dean, also representing the rest of the Runaways. I cheated a little bit. Alien, Nico's girlfriend for a time. I don't know that they still are together, but she's super cool. Yeah. And I love the Runaways, and I decided Carolina Dean she would be my number 2 choice, but Nico's already in the game. And then my number 5 choice, a little off the wall, Honey Lemon, representing Big Hero 6, because I just think that would be an absolutely nutty, very cool season. I don't even know if they count as Marvel anymore, because I don't think they've been in the comics since the Disney movie. But I don't know. I think another Japan season using Big Hero 6 would be super fun.
Is that the big, like, white marshmallowy?
That's Baymax, yeah.
That's Baymax.
Honey Lemon is a girl. She has a purse that has, like, it's like a pocket dimension, I think, and she can do, like, she can mix molecules and stuff together and make potions. Yeah, basically.
I don't
She's
think
a science
she was
girl
in the
with a
Kingdom
bag of
Hearts
holding.
3 level, so I don't know about
tech
her.
girls? I'm always into the tech girls.
Yeah.
So
I love tech girls. Also,
So, yeah,
does Carolina Dean have a new code name, or is it still Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Sorry, I haven't checked in with
that.
Runaways since like 2004 or something.
That's a great name for her, because, Kaleidoscope Eyes, and she's all, like, colorful, but you're right, it's a very long code name.
So people just call her Carolina.
She suppresses her powers with a bracelet.
Mm-hmm. At least she did when I read Runaways. I don't know what they're up to in the past.
Yeah, I don't think I've read the latest either, even though it's some of my favorite Marvel. Okay. Next up is Ree, because Ben is bringing next week's assignment. Ree, who are your top 5?
Okay, so I think, like, I don't know. I put these in order of interesting. From least to most.
All right.
First, it just obviously Hellcat, right? I've talked about her a couple times. I like her as a Marvel character. I won her in the game. She's like related to Jessica Jones that I like, all of that stuff. I'm not going to talk longer about her since I already have.
Costume.
Hellcat. Patsy Walker. She should be in. Okay. Next, I also went to the Runaways because so many Runaways are in the game, and I thought about picking Carolina or Molly and here's where I broke extra credit. I get no extra credit because I've been honorable mentioned.
You did Gertrude in the yep.
No, that's not even it. My honorable mention is Doombot, who is a self-aware. He's in the Rainbow Roll run, and it's a Doombot who is now like self-aware. Just hangs out with the Runaways in the mansions. He's so hilarious and so much fun. Honorable mention to that, but I did go with Old Lace, and I didn't pair it with Gertrude. I just said Old Lace because I'm like, yeah, but like dinosaurs, right? We use more dinosaurs in the game.
There are not enough raptors in Snap already.
I would argue there are too many.
Apparently, so Old Lace is a dinosaur who was bred by the evil genetic scientist parents of Gertrude, and it's a program to respond to her. They're psychically linked, so it'll respond to her commands, and dinosaurs. I could go on at length, but we've already had a long podcast, so I won't get into the whole history of Old Lace. But it comes from Arsenic and Old Lace, which is an old movie I've seen multiple times. Kind of want to watch it again, to be honest. And because Gertrude went by Arsenic, so it was Arsenic, and then the dino was Old Lace. Okay, next, to not belabor it, we have Honey Badger. So this is an X-23, a clone of X-23, from a storyline by Tom Taylor, in which she runs into 3 clones of herself. Honey Badger, who is Gabrielle is her name, is the youngest. She's just a little kid, X-23. And her sidekick is
Do they all
Jonathan
have names
the
like
Badger.
that?
What?
Do they all like animals? Like, I'm assuming Honey Badger is to be a counterpart to Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, now she's going by
Tasmanian
Scout,
Devil,
I
and,
guess, is
yeah,
her actual
gotcha.
new moniker. But it's like when X-23 became Talon, it's like, no. Like, everyone liked Honey Badger. Why does she need to be Scout now? Anyway.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, she's very cute and like tiny, and she hangs out with X-23, and she's a good foil for X-23, who's all like, I'm Griff, I do things solo, and she's the good little like, I'm cute and a fun time, you know, like companion to X-23 in the comics. So, you know, she'll be cute in the game, and I'll probably play her 'cause she'll probably do something fun like X-23 does, right?
Yeah,
With
probably a
just
discard card.
Okay, next up, second place, the only Inhuman and the best Inhuman that I found interesting. So we've kind of briefly said, okay, yes, also Karnak, but no, I didn't pick Karnak. I think it debated Karnak, but then it's mostly based on this run that Warren Ellis wrote, and Warren Ellis is like, you know, kind of in a downswing. So I went instead. This Inhuman was created by Charles Soule, and it was when we've kind of mentioned this before, when they lost the movie rights to X-Men, and they're like, we'll make Inhumans a thing because we don't have the movie rights to X-Men. They did this big push in the comics to go with it, and I tried so hard to get into the Inhumans. I was just like, but there was one bright shining light in the darkness that was like all of the boring Inhumans, and his name is Reader. Okay, because his power comes from when he reads a thing, like it happens. So if he reads fire, he can create a fire. But that's exactly what happened. He actually burned down and killed both of his parents. So he got both of his eyes gouged out. So now he's just got like this visor, right? Because he's got no eyes. So he has to read in Braille. So that's like how he reads now. And it's like he can do like so many reads before he has to like sleep and recharge. Like, and each read gets weaker. And he like doesn't give a shit about anything but his dog Forey, who's like an adorable little terrier who runs around with him. And like nobody even like knows his real name.
Like Lockjaw?
No, it's not Lockjaw. It's just a regular dog that he would die for.
Tuning fork. I know it's not Lockjaw. I just thought maybe all the Inhumans dogs had tuning forks.
No, he's like the John Wick of Inhumans. He's like just this real cool character. He comes in and you're like, who is this? And he's interesting. And anyway, like, so Reader.
Has the dog died at some point, triggering a John Wick style rampage?
Not yet, which makes it better, because like the dog should live always.
Oh, so this is a John Wick waiting to happen.
Well,
this is a retired John Wick who has not yet uttered the words,
does Reader have to go
I'm thinking I'm back.
Okay, full disclosure, I've never actually seen John Wick, so I just know.
You're not
I just know things about
much, in my opinion.
Whatever, they're so fun.
They're fine.
Reader sounds like a cool character. That ability vaguely reminds me of Nico's Staff of One. Where it's just
right?
Willing things
cool
to be
power.
Using words. Yeah.
Cool character, so much room to grow. Anyway, so that was my number 2. My number 1 is a bit of an in-joke with Lauren as well. It is Shark Girl!
Yay!
Who I only just learned was a character that exists rather recently from the Dazzler comic. Shark Girl is, in fact, the head of a shark on the body of a woman.
It tells what it says on the tin, yeah.
Yeah, and
she looks cool, though!
Yeah!
Like a little were-shark girl. Yeah.
He's an X-Men. You know how they're always just making mutants left and right? Just throwing them out willy-nilly, seeing what sticks. Shark Girl is one of those. She got created. She is currently the drummer for Dazzler's band. Dazzler's manager was like, mutant, hate is on the rise. And Shark Girl, you look too different with your shark head. People won't accept you. I need you to wear this bracelet that will make you look like a normal human. And she does. And then like in the middle of the song, Dazzler's like, no, be proud of who you are. Be out and proud. And she takes off her bracelet and is like, Drum is who you are, Shark Girl. Anyway.
Heck yeah.
Well, that's the story of Shark Girl.
Cool.
And those are my 5.
Good 5. Some strong picks. All right, I'm going to try to go through mine pretty quickly because as I assign next week's secret homework, I'm going to take a minute. So let's do this real quick. At number 5 for my most desired cards to see, this is a more interesting... Actually, you know what? I'll start with number 1, the boring one that they're definitely going to put in the game soon.
Okay.
The boring one they're going to put in the game at some point in the foreseeable future. Toad. But it's also the one that I want to see the most. I love Toad.
Oh.
Mortimer Toynbee.
I forgot he wasn't in game.
Real good egg. Yeah.
I think he's in the data mines.
Yep.
Yeah.
It had the same ability as Ghost Spider, and in fact,
he'll be around.
Had the
sometime.
same stats as original Ghost Spider. But like, yeah, we'll definitely see the Toad, and they'll definitely do some sort of Aranya or Ghost Spider type Yankaroo on another card, I think, and that'll be real fun. But like, I love Toad. I always love Toad in all the video games, the films, the comics. I love his little jester outfit. I love his ultimate outfit. I love all his silly outfits and looks. Toad's great. Big fan. Also in X-Men Legends 2, one of the best characters. Also one of the only characters that allows you to get extra credits from the game's finite enemies. Toad's got a move that makes him drop extra money, which is very rare in those Activision, that series of games, your X-Men Legends is and your Marvel Ultimate Alliances. So I have extra positive associations with Toad.
Maybe his ability will give you extra credits in Snap.
I doubt it. Number 2, the Gibbon. This is a character that I encountered in those old-ass Amazing Spider-Mans. The Gibbon is really hapless, at least in those appearances. I think they've done things in recent years with the Gibbon that probably would turn my hair white like Silver Sable or Prometheus from DC Comics. I'd be so shocked at whatever they've done with the Gibbon. But like, it really struck me that like Spider-Man like pities this fool, even though he's like doing some like crimes and stuff. He like, you feel bad for the Gibbon because he's such a loser. And like Spider-Man feels bad for him too. But like the Gibbon is like easily manipulated by like smarter villains and stuff. And he's just like, yeah, you just feel bad for the Gibbon. I think. Okay.
So he's endearing to you?
Yeah, a little bit. Also, he's ridiculous. His name's the Gibbon, for Christ's sake. Let's see. What does the Marvel wiki say about him? Martin Blank has a Gibbon-like appearance. Like his powers are, general leaping
to
and
be a Gibbon,
and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if just look up what he's like a monkey man,
Yeah, that's yep.
He's got nothing going for him basically.
But you want him as your number 2 character in Snap.
Yeah, he's cool.
Okay, great.
Number 3, Deathbird, the sister of Lilandra, Charles Xavier's bird alien GF. But she's way cooler than Lilandra. She's angry that, she never gets to be in charge of the Shi'ar Empire or whatever. I mean, I'm sure she has been like 50 different times at brief moments in different stories because, there've been a lot of comic books, so I'm sure she gets her way sometimes. But like, she's always like, yeah, why are we hanging out with? Why is my sister hanging out with this bald piece of shit?
I enjoyed her in X-Men 97.
Yeah, she was great in X-Men 97, just dropping the sassiest barbs. Just like, yeah. Deathbird's great look, great style. Also, she always shows up in the video games and the card games and the miniatures games before Lilandra does, because nice bird ladies finish last and they never get to be in the games because they're not as interesting as their bad girl sisters.
As the classic saying goes.
Deathbird is the original Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. And then number 4, we got Spiral. I'm sure there's a lot of lore to know about Spiral, but mostly she's got a great look. We all know Spiral, right? Mojo's hench
I
person.
just had to Google
with the 6
them.
arms
I didn't know
and the-
I learned
I've seen those
I learned about
things.
her because she's one of Snapdeck's most wanted characters.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
she's great. Like, and it's a hell of a look. Like,
It's a really great look.
It's
Like
a
the 6
great look.
arms.
Like,
Mhm.
brilliant character design. Also, she just seems to be like more competent than Mojo. It's like Spiral's never the one dropping the ball, and like it seems like other people are usually dropping the ball, and Spiral's like, well, you know. So Spiral has appeared in many X-Men comics, but I still don't know very much about her personality, despite having met her several times, because I'm not sure she really has all that much personality. Maybe she does. I'm sure she's had like her own limited series, and you know, but she's got enough arms that she doesn't need a personality. And then at number 5, closing out the list, Eunice the Untouchable, because he's great. He was in X-Men number 8. That's his first appearance. That's mostly where I know him from. I think they've used Eunice several times throughout the years, but mostly I know him from the very, very early X-Men's. He projects a force field around himself. He's a mutant. He's kind of a shithead. I don't think he's not like Brotherhood. I think he hung out with the Blob once in one of those early X-Men's, but he's not himself a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Bring back the evil. Put it back in the name, folks. They used to be the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants until somebody decided that no one would actually call themselves that. But
he's got like high-waisted Speedos.
yeah, no, he's also got a bit of a look going on. I don't know. So I guess
ribs drawn on them.
Yeah, I guess maybe he has been in the Brotherhood. I don't know. Everyone's been in the Brotherhood sometimes, but you know,
yeah,
I wouldn't describe him as a core member of the group. But yeah, he's a lot of fun, and he boasts a lot, and you can't touch him. I mean, it's right there in his name. He's Eunice, the Untouchable, and you can't touch him. And I'm sure there's a great way to give him an interesting ability.
Unsurprisingly, we all brought quite a few obscure characters.
I tried to hit some mainstream ones. I thought about. Oh, I can't tell you what I thought about putting on the list. That's forbidden.
Well, I mean, if you want to break the extra credit and be on the bottom of the curve.
All right, I surrender all my extra credit, and I do admit that I thought about putting other Brotherhood members like Destiny or Pyro on the list.
Oh, Destiny, yes, please.
Destiny's in my 12. I mean, I kind
of thought somebody else might bring Destiny, so I was like, well, I'll leave that to Rhea or Lauren or something. But
I had a top 12 that I pared down. Destiny was in it, and each of you had one person. I won't say because I don't want to lose too much extra credit, but each of you had one person on your list that was on my extended list. But hey, we have a unique top 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
You did it.
All right. Thanks for doing my homework. That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Next week's assignment, what are we doing?
All right. Now, I tried to save myself a little bit of time. I know this has already been a long episode, but so I realized that we've said a lot of critical things today, but I want any and all corporate entities, companies, brands, everyone to know that we're real friendly to capitalism and commerce and promotion and synergy and vertical integration, and we love making money hand over fist. I know we've said a lot of mean things about the role that maybe greed has played in hobbling this game that we love, but I want everyone who may or may not be listening to know that all 3 of the hosts of Snap on This are at heart very open to being corporate friendly. We're not so much. It's not that we're eager to sell out, but I just want everyone to know that we're willing.
There's a price.
We think about selling out. So Now that I've gotten that out of the way, a little more context. This information comes from Wikipedia. Chex Quest is a non-violent first-person shooter video game created in 1996 by Digital Cafe, originally intended as a Chex cereal promotion aimed at children aged 6 to 9 and up. It is a total conversion of the more explicitly violent video game Doom, specifically the Ultimate Doom version of the game. Chex Quest won both the Golden Effie Award for advertising effectiveness in 1996 and the Golden Reggi Award for promotional achievement in 1998. And it is known today for having been the first video game ever to be included in cereal boxes as a prize. The game's cult following has been described by the press as being composed of unusually devoted fans of an advertising vehicle from a bygone age. In 2019, General Mills re-released Chex Quest and its previously unofficial 2008 sequel and presented a mini-documentary on YouTube. This next excerpt comes from fandom.com's Halo Wiki. Mountain Dew Game Fuel is a limited edition Mountain Dew soft drink flavor produced by Pepsi Cola Incorporated that has been used to promote the releases of multiple video games, including Halo 3 in 2007 and Halo 4 in 2012. Originally, the citrus cherry soda was released on August 13th, 2007 for a 12-week limited edition run to promote the release of Halo 3, with packaging featuring John 117, I guess that's Master Chief, the Halo Man.
Yes.
We all know the guy.
The Halo Man.
Also known as Mysterio 3099, because he looks like Master. Okay, if you know the variant, you know. Anyway, and the Halo 3 logo. This flavor returned in 2009 to promote World of Warcraft and in 2011 to promote Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. On October 1st, 2012, it was officially announced that Game Fuel would be returning once again on October 15th to promote Halo 4 as part of the Dew XP promotion, which allows fans to go online and enter codes found on specially marked Mountain Dew and Doritos packaging. These codes unlock extra in-game experience for their career in Halo 4 when it was released on November 6, 2012. This promotion was active in the United States and Canada, although Canada did not see a Game Fuel release for it. So you could actually get like some experience points or whatever in your game. Also, I could tell you about the flavor of Game Fuel. I'm not gonna bore you with the details of the citrus cherry flavor or the bright red orange color or what other Mountain Dew flavors it tastes kind of like. But I will mention that this variant of the drink was designed specifically to target gamers with a higher caffeine content to provide them with the boost they need to play for several hours. Okay, that's a quote from the marketing materials, I believe. Each bottle of Game Fuel contained 120 milligrams of caffeine in each 20 fluid ounce serving, and 48
That's an energy drink.
48 milligrams in each 8 fluid ounce serving. That's more caffeine than found in original
times Mountain Dew. Yeah,
how does this relate to coffee?
That's why it was marketed as fuel for gamers. All right.
I want it though, and to eat
I need to tell you about.
It's already worked on me.
This information that I'm about to drop comes from a press release issued by Hot Pockets on March 1st, 2023. This is from prnewswire.com. Solon, Ohio, March 1st, 2023. In celebration of Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary, Hot Pockets is teaming up with the legendary card game to fill fans' virtual Hot Pockets with custom in-game content. Fans of Hot Pockets and Magic the Gathering alike are encouraged to snap pictures of their receipts and submit them to hotpockets.com/MTG for special codes, which can be redeemed for exclusive content on Magic the Gathering Arena, the digital version of the game. Stackable in-game content. That's stackable in-game content.
Amazing.
Includes a themed deck featuring Vivienne on the hunt, a new Vivienne Planeswalker avatar, new Vivienne Planeswalker card sleeves, and 2,000 experience bonus for your Mastery Pass, as well as the IRL reward of the delicious flavor of Hot Pockets. US 16+ term supply. For more information and a full look at the available custom content, check out hotpockets.com/MTG. In honor of Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary, Hot Pockets is offering several different colors of its packaging. Keep an eye out for the white, blue, red, and green packaging when shopping, as each limited edition Hot Pockets box features an iconic mana color and planeswalker from the game.
Not black?
Very good critical eye there, Lauren. Critical ear, rather. Here is a breakdown of every available pairing. White mana / Gideon, Hot Pockets, Italian-style meatballs and mozzarella. Blue mana / Jace is Hot Pockets, Philly steak and cheese. Red mana / Chandra is Hot Pockets, premium pepperoni pizza flavor. It's not a Hot Pockets pizza. It's the pepperoni pizza flavor of Hot Pockets. You all know what's up. All right. And then last but not least, we've got green mana / Vivienne, Hot Pockets, hickory, ham and cheddar. So, Savick Magic the Gathering fans will notice one color is missing, but have no fear. Unless you've been playing since 10th edition, then you might have fear lying around. Cannot be blocked by artifact or except by artifact or black creatures. The Razortooth Rat's ability, the text. Okay, the true fans know. Anyway, black mana Hot Pockets are coming soon to complete the set. Fans are encouraged to stay vigilant for when this mysterious new box, veiled in secrecy, drops in May, exclusively at participating Walmart locations across the country. So that's where the black one is. It's only at Walmart. Hot Pockets and gaming have gone hand in hand for generations, which is why it was a no-brainer to reward fans of both Magic the Gathering and Hot Pockets, said Brian Waddell, brand marketing manager for Hot Pockets. We hope fans new and old enjoy the stackable in-game content that comes with this celebration, with more to come from us in May. The custom Hot Pockets and Magic the Gathering packaging and the opportunity for exclusive in-game content will run until June 30th, 2023, with more 30th anniversary celebrations between the two brands coming throughout the year. Gaming and Hot Pockets is an iconic pairing, said Elaine Chase, VP of Marketing and Commercial for Magic the Gathering. We're thrilled to celebrate Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary together with custom in-game content available with every box of limited edition Hot Pockets. So, now that you've heard about the rich history of products such as these, I would like my co-hosts to propose a sweet cross-promotional collab tie-in with a food or beverage brand, perhaps featuring an exclusive variant of a Series 3 card. I think that would be a smart idea because, you get a variant of a Series 3 card. That's a reason to seek out this product if you're just starting playing the game. It's like, wow, that's a new thing for me. I'll get the variant and, I'll open the card eventually later or whatever. But I can play it now. That's real cool. So bonus points if your idea is more thematically appropriate than the Magic the Gathering Hot Pockets. Because what the hell is that? If you could make a little more sense, I am going to prohibit you from using any pizza brands because this was a little bit. One of the inspirations was the Deadpool and Wolverine DiGiorno's pizzas that I told you guys about. This must have been months ago, but I remember that you were also you all expressed some interest in what was going on with that, because I did have a chimichanga flavored pizza that did have a cutout mask of Deadpool's face that I could have worn around afterwards.
Why didn't you?
I did regret it after I threw away the box. I was like, it would have been fun for the podcast or something. But anywho, we're not doing pizza because I specifically have some ideas about pizza and which Marvel character eats pizza where. And it's Magneto. Magneto eats nothing but frozen pizza while he surveys the Earth from the cold distance of space on Asteroid M. I think Magneto eats a ton of pizza, and I would love to tell you all about it at a later date. But no pizza, but any other food or beverage brand. Right. I also know which brand of pizza he eats. It's not DiGiorno. I'll tell you another time. But no pizza and no Magneto. But I recommend picking a Series 3 card. But if you have a different idea about what would be appropriate, maybe a different series of card or whatever, make it a recognizable. I mean, I don't know. Follow the rule of cool for this one. So if there's a cool idea you have that bends time and space or whatever, just do the thing. If you want to make Avengers brand shawarma, even though there's not I don't know. You can get all kinds of weird things in the freezer aisle. It doesn't have to be in the freezer aisle. It could be a cereal tie-in if you got a really, really funny one, or a smart one, a cool one. I don't know. Just follow your heart. That's what I say. Thank you for listening to my
Squad.
very lengthy. Yes, it is very much squad. That's of course
fun. I'm
a
excited
podcast
to do this.
within a podcast. But
I'm so hungry.
we're not here to promote other podcasts or podcasts within podcasts. But yes, there may have been some Munch Squad influence. Also, perhaps some Doughboys influence. But yeah, that's my secret homework. I'm sorry it took so dang long. I really tried to speak quickly.
I enjoyed the history.
Okay. That's
context.
That's wonderful and fun, and the press releases are always wild. Okay. We have one more thing in the bag. It is a listener comment that we are going to read off maybe half of it and talk about. It's from Dicker Problem Bayer. What platform? Is this Spotify?
This is YouTube.
It's YouTube. Okay. Starts off, still here every week and loving every second of it. Your podcast rocks. Thanks.
Yay,
You
thank
rock.
you.
Dicker Problem Bayer.
You rock.
Should I just read the whole thing? Maybe I'll skip halfway. It's basically about card acquisition and the Pool 3 drop-off. For me personally, the Season Pass and Gold Pass is the max amount of money I'm willing to spend on this game. That's $15 a month. It's more like a nice little distraction I'm hooked on than a full-blown hobby for me. I was wondering how you dealt with the sharp drop-off in card acquisition once you reached Pool 3 complete. I have a decent amount of Series 4 and 5 cards, so spotlights that have 2 new cards have become very rare for me. Hey, same. And I'm sticking to my no real money card purchases conviction. How is it for you as content creators? Do you regularly spend money on the game? And if yes, do you track your overall spend on the game? Mobile game design always feels a little predatory on that front to me, and I haven't heard any content creators actually talk about how much money they have to put in to just keep up with the new card releases. I know it's a difficult topic, but I would really appreciate to hear your thoughts about it. First up, I'll say
telling
if
us
you
content creators.
it's technically true. I'll point you to maybe I'll put it in. Maybe I'll put another creator's YouTube video in the comments, just like KM Bests. Jeff Hoogland has talked about this. The price of Snap and how much money he spends personally as a content creator, but he's a whale on a level far above. I don't know that any of us are whales, but he's far above us and a far bigger content creator. But he also has done the math to kind of talk about like what's the price of Snap. Obviously, I've done a lot of that too. Writing at Marvel Snap Zone. If you like min-max the game, you should end up around, with Season Pass and Gold Pass, you should end up around 90% of Series 4 and 5, which is right around where I am right now. And I mostly only buy the Season Pass and Gold Pass, and sometimes an odd bundle here and there if it has a cute variant. Not super often, but like I just picked up the new stature that is really cute. I would say less than once a month I do that. Instead of me just hogging this whole thing, what's your spend like? Let's be transparent.
Let's be very transparent. Ree, would you like to go first?
Sure. I do. I get the Season Pass and the Gold Pins. And I get bundles even more rarely than Lauren does, I think. And I'm very picky. They have to be very kind of low cost for me to get them. I really don't want to spend above $10 for a bundle, and I only do that rarely. And here's the thing. I actually, when I was looking at this comment, I had thought, about how there was a point, because I was optimistic when Spotlights came out, and there's a point after where it's like, no, I think this will do well, and I'm excited about for art, and I think I can get to collection complete. That's my goal, and I kind of thought I would be by now, to be honest, because I got real close through I used to obsessively plan my spotlights and stuff. But here's the thing. I am actually now further away as time has gotten away from collection. There are now more and more cards I don't have, where I used to be much closer to collection complete, and that's because cards aren't dropping. So, I am not getting many 2 cards. Like, when I open for a card, I'm not often getting 2 cards that week. I'm never getting 3, pretty much, So it's just And, if cards drop down to Series 3 or something, and now by the time they do, I definitely already have them because they've been kicking around so long. So overall, the system has been getting worse to me. I'm farther and farther from collection complete as time goes on. And no, I don't spend more money to stay caught up. We just, we just pick and choose. Yeah. What about you, Ben?
All right. Well, I figured it out. It's pretty easy, actually, to figure out how much money I've spent on Marvel Snap, because I started playing on, I think, the 2nd of November in 2022, and that was right at the end of the October season. And I did actually end up getting the October season pass, the Miles Morales one. So now with this month, this November season, that means I've been playing for 25 seasons, and I've purchased every season pass since I started. So that's $250 right there. Also, on the first day that I started playing Marvel Snap, or at least like within the first 48 hours, I got the $3 Captain America welcome bundle. That was like a super good deal for like what you got for it. It had a Captain America variant and a bunch of gold, and it cost $3. I don't see a lot of $3 bundles anymore, or any. Bit of a bummer, but yeah, this one seemed like a great deal, and I really liked the game, and it seemed like a reasonable. I could tell I was going to play it for a while, so it seemed like a reasonable expenditure. I think I actually got that bundle before I committed to the season pass. I think I was just like, well, let's see what this does for me.
Me too. I think that was the first thing I bought.
So I did that.
I held out on that welcome bundle for like months. It never goes away.
And then, other than that, I bought a $5 thing. Actually, I didn't buy a $5 thing of gold. I won a $5 gold infusion from winning a tournament. And so I think Gunny T logged into my Marvel Snap thing on the Newverse store and bought me some gold. It was actually double gold because this was during double gold time. So I actually got 600 gold that someone paid $5 for. So I didn't spend that money myself, but I'll still count it towards the thing. Also, I won $10 in a different Marvel Snap tournament that I guess I could consider, removing from this total spent. But yeah, so I got a $5 thing of gold, and I got a $20 thing of gold in January of this year after I had come right up to being collection complete. I could have bought Echo. I had the tokens to buy Echo, but I was like, I'm just going to wait for it to series drop. And it's like not worth it to just overextend on resources just to say that I was complete when like I know I could be complete in this moment. So like, yeah, I just decided not to. So I basically got complete there for a moment until they added the extra card a month, and I was like out of resources. I'd had a very bad run of Spotlight luck at this time. So I asked my friend Lauren, I was like, what kind of money do I need to throw at the game to like get back on track? And Lauren was like, I don't know, Ben. And like that was about what you said, basically. Like you told me a bunch of stuff I already knew that I figured you knew that I already knew about like what the smart things to do with money were.
Oh, I sound so mean.
No. But like I could tell you knew that I probably knew this stuff. And like, so what I decided to do then in January of this year, this was my biggest / kind of only time I spent outside of season passes or that $3 Captain America bundle or the $5 of gold that I won from that tournament. I made a $20 gold purchase, and this was still during double gold. So I got almost 3,000 gold for $20, which I don't know how great a deal that. I mean, they're all bad deals compared to the season pass. That's the moral of my story, is that the season pass is the only thing you should buy. So I kind of regret spending those $20 on that random chunk of gold. I probably, if I'd just like done smarter things, I could have. I've min-maxed pretty hard, but if I'd min-maxed harder, I think I don't know. Things could have been going better for me. But yeah, I spent $20 on gold, and I bought a $10 bundle with Dazzler that was out in January. And that's it. There was $25 of paid gold, one $10 bundle, one $3 bundle, and 25 season passes, bringing my total spend to 288 doll hairs. That's what I've spent on Marvel Snap, if you don't count the $10 that I won from a tournament or the $5. Yeah. If you don't count the ways that I could defray these costs, yeah, I've spent less than $300 since global release on mobile. And I have the most complete collection of any of us. So
yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting comparison because I was a proper whale for my first few months playing this game. I did the math once when Pulse asked me, and I spent like $3,000 in my first first, I don't know, 6 months of playing, something like that. Yeah, it kind of blew my mind when I saw that.
Yeah, you could finance 10 Ben Rollers with 10 Ben Roller Snap careers with that money.
Part of it was that I love the game and it kind of caught me, and I have fallen for this once before with a different mobile game, and so I had been very good about it for a while, but Snap just got its hooks in the right way. I caught it after that, and I could not, I wanted to get through Series 3. That's basically what I whaled my way through was completing Series 3. And that's what I got for it. I finished Series 3 earlier than a player who started when I did, which was also December 2022. I think that was about my first 6 months. I hit collection complete shortly after that, right before the first spotlight started is when I hit collection complete, and I held it for about 6 months. I had done the math at the time that season pass and min-maxing was all you needed to get every card.
It super was. I made so many mistakes up yeah, even by only doing things mostly smart, I really did get right up there to collection complete, right at the end of 2023.
Yeah, so I held it really for about 6 months.
I know, so many people were doubting you, Lauren, being "There's no way the season pass is enough." And I'm no, it's more than enough. It was more than enough. I was throwing away. I rolled extra spotlights just to get a silk spotlight variant I wanted because it looked like I could afford to. Y'all know how penny pinching and frugal I am. And it seemed like I had wiggle room to stop and smell the roses. That's how good the season pass was back when there were only
series drops would happen more.
So many new cards, 4 or 5 new cards. And yes, yeah.
There were some things that changed. I smelled them coming around October. I was like, direct to Series 4 cards. Those aren't going to keep, this is too generous. Those are going away. So October is the first time I skipped a card. It was Black Knight. And then I skipped Gladiator the next month. Ended up buying both of them with tokens after they got buffed. But
I remember the first time I was on Snap Judgments, you were also there, Lauren, and I called the no more Series 4 cards thing, and Glazer was like, we don't know that. And I'm like, we know that, come on. You know.
So, and then it was just a couple months later that we had the first data mine for, it was originally Firestar coming in December, and it was going to be the first month that had the extra card, I think.
Yep, that's correct.
And it ended up being January instead because Firestar didn't come out. But still, there were changes coming. And around that time, I wrote an article.
Yeah.
And I wrote an article about things that were changing in Snap. Extra card every month really adds up. No more Series 4 cards really adds up. Reduced series drops really adds up. All these things have made the system much worse. That said, let's focus on the core question of how do you deal with the sharp drop-off in card acquisition. Honestly, I don't really remember it that much, but I can tell you, I do. If I skip the new release card 2 weeks in a row, I really feel it. 1 week I can handle. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna goof off with something that I've got, or one of my favorite decks, or I'm gonna give myself a little challenge. 2 weeks in a row, I really feel like, I'm lacking a new toy to play with, and it hurts. But I've done it a couple times. Is that because of
the power level of the new cards, or really just that you don't have the cards?
I just like having toys to play with.
And you don't think you have enough?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's hard though when you're in Series 3 and you're used to getting like 2 new cards a week, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, like, you know. So I get the drop off, but I also have so many there's so many cards that I still haven't, you know. Really explored.
I think some of it's a FOMO thing, or some of it's like, if they let me demo cards, which this is why I don't think they ever will. If they let me demo cards, I'd be satisfied with like 10 games with some cards. I just want to do something silly with them, or I just want to try them out, and then I'll be good. But yeah, I think how do you deal with the sharp drop off is kind of just like, how do you deal with the boring week in Snap, or like, you know, when Snap is just checking the boxes, or when you're frustrated with leagues, or I think you just find something fun to do, some challenge to pursue, whether that's climbing in ranked mode or trying to build up tickets so you can chase an infinity ticket, or
I find a deck around a variant you love.
Deck building is extremely rewarding. I
kind of miss having an incomplete collection just because it's fun to build decks with incomplete.
The limitation.
Yeah, like there's another snapper in my household, and I love building decks on that person's account.
Easy to say when you're coming from that, because here's where it feels the most bad to me is like when I want to play with certain decks, but it's like the deck just doesn't really feel good without Ajax. You know what I mean?
No, that's
like,
true.
Kind of thing.
It was such a bother in Series 3. Like I started playing Surfer before I had like Brood and stuff. It was rough.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Like,
but yeah, the specifics.
I'm just saying how I deal with that is I try to keep enough tokens on hand to like when a card like that happens to me and I really want it, I have the tokens to get it. So I try to be, I do end up spending a lot, but I'm almost at 6,000 again, even though I got Fenris Wolf, which is where I try to always be. Almost always have one. So when I like this,
same.
And maybe I'll spend them on Ajax. I don't know.
I usually hover closer to 12,000, but my like minimum is I want 6,000 in case there's a card that gets buffed out of the blue, or a card that I totally read wrong. That's like, and Ajax is the one I've got Ajax pinned because I'm like, I thought he was just going to be a dumb stat stake, but he really is kind of like, it's a deck type that I like.
And he's not in spotlights for the foreseeable future, right?
Right. So yes, I think that's, you have to skip spotlights in order to afford the cards you want. You have to.
My advice is figure out which kind of cards you don't like and then skip those cards. Like
my rule has been to skip discard cards, and I even kind of like discard, but it's just like it's easier for me. There's fewer decks that I miss out on because I'm just like, I just can't play discard. Like I don't have Proxima, I don't have Corvus, I don't have Scorn. But I don't know, like I feel like getting a clump of similar cards missing keeps more decks open to me. I don't know if that's true.
No, but exactly. You don't want to feel
easy decisions.
You really need Silver Sable and you're just playing lesser cards. That's where it feels bad, where you really want that for your deck. So, that kind of planning. And just, it's like the generic advice, probably anyone listening already knows it. It's like, don't open. I plan that I will have to spend 4 keys to get any card I want. And that's how I plan my spotlights.
Yes.
I'm sure our listeners have heard this, but don't open if you don't have 4 keys.
Yeah.
Also,
to bring it all around. Go ahead.
I think some element of the question was about how do we do this as content creators. I don't know to what extent that informs any of y'all's spending habits. I know Lauren's in the creator program, but Ree and I are, to my knowledge, and not in the creator program, and that is just fine with me. I think if they want to buy my loyalty and my voice, they can give me a salaried position, like a grown up or whatever. But no. Not that I think there's anything wrong with accepting their allowance, and it's free stuff. I love free stuff. I very much get it. It's just
plus a month.
It's not for me.
That's a good point. To be transparent, I'm in the creator program. I get 2,000 gold a month for free on top of the season pass and gold pass that I pay for. Not that 2,000 gold goes a long way. Honestly, I probably spend my gold more recklessly because of that free gold.
Then you should. Like, then it's warranted for sure.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, I'll get 2,000 more next
token
month to save for a bundle. Yeah. It probably makes me a worse spender. But yeah, to bring it all around, I wailed for 6 months and it didn't, like, I don't have anything to show for it. Like Ben was saying, he has the most full collection here and he's paid the least. So a lot of it has to do with how much you're min-maxing.
And also, I know it sounds like I have like the best spotlight luck in the world just because like I do sometimes pull these random fourth ones, but towards the end of 2023, I had a month's long streak of exclusively four keys to get the desired card every time. It was ridiculous. Like it was
got to be so disheartening.
As my good luck has been, it was just the inverse of that. So like it had, things were going pretty well just by doing smart things, even with very bad luck. So if you're having bad luck, try to compensate by only making good choices.
Yeah. I don't think we're very typical content creators, right? None of us feel the need to have every single card. And then also we're a team of
We're not
3.
making money from our content creation.
There's that too.
Not yet. Not unless someone takes our invitation to at least ask us to sell out. Come on.
Yeah.
But also we're a team of 3, so there are very few cards that none of us have. Right? Like even Emperor Hulkling Ree gets pulled into. Except for the big dumb guys.
Except for Red Hulk and Gorr.
Red Hulk and Gorr. Right.
Got him now.
I think Gorr is the only one through the run of our podcast that all 3 of us have skipped.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Sounds about right.
And I don't think he's very hard to analyze. I think he watched some gameplay, be on the receiving end of Gorr's.
I can confirm from a distance. Gorr's a real card. Definitely
it seems sufficient.
Yeah.
To get an idea of how big he is. That's all that really matters for Gorr is how big does he get. I don't know how directly we answered your question, but I hope that was some fun and interesting discussion / insight. If you like what you heard, do all the things. Follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, subscribe on YouTube, etc. Leave reviews, leave comments. We have set up a Discord, sort of. It's the Snap Judgments League Discord. And if you get in there and select a role, you can get access to our 2 channels. We have one that's just a general discussion and one that's for feedback and also submitting your own secret homework if you want to play along. Some of you have been doing that, and it's always a delight to see. You can email us suggestions as well, SnapOnThisPod@gmail.com. I'll say I put a lot of my Snap community time into Discord as Twitter has gotten grimmer and grimmer. And I am going to try to be good about being active in our little podcast corner of Discord. I don't want to make promises for my co-hosts. We are part of the Snap Judgments Network, where you can listen to other shows like How Can She Snap, Snap Decisions, and Snap Judgments, our grand pod, where all of our channels are hosted. They also got How Can She Snap and Snap Decisions, the other podcasts, also got new channels created on that Discord. So if you want to go chat with those people, you should do that also. Anyway, catch us next week in the middle of Rivals season. Well, at the very beginning of Rivals season.
It's going to be so long.
Ben is excited. Same Snap time, same Snap channel. I think that's our longest one yet.
Oh, I know.
Wake me up when December ends.
The new
It'll just be January already. Give me the Dark Avengers. They're like the regular Avengers, but like, what if they were a little shady?
Edgy. I hope December 10th means new patches, like new data mines. I think it will mean that.
Yeah, hopefully they can do something that will get people hyped. Maybe they should do they won't, but they should do something.
No, they won't.
For next month and be like, hey, everyone, have.
What you're describing there is an opportunity, Ree.
They need.
Look, part of them being kind to their team is that they get good holidays, and the team takes a lot of time off. I mean, I think that gets oversold often, but that is why we have, we're missing the second half of November and the second half of December having OTAs and patches. Well, OTAs.
Yeah, and I think that's just fine. I mean, just come out with a game mode. Dude,
just make a game mode.
Yeah,